Smite fans, and welcome back as we get ready to jump into our second set of the day. You might recognize a couple of the teams, and you may even recognize the matchup because once again we have Duck Club versus JUSTF6 in a rematch showdown here in the lower bracket of our tournaments. J-Mac Tucker and Mifflin joining me on the desk as we get ready to go into this rematch showdown. And last time around, Duck Club came up with a nice 2-0, though it wasn't the easiest or the cleanest of wins so far. But it's been a lot of improvements on both sides of the board for these two teams.
Yeah, man. I think that both of these squads have got a lot to prove here today. I'll be completely candid. JUSTF6 didn't impress me during their SCC run, right? I feel like they were middle of the pack for the majority of the year, kind of flashes of brilliance at moments, but never finding that consistency. So when they showed up, I was like, all right, I hope they do well. You know, these seem like a bunch of really nice guys. And then they've kind of been owning, right? Like ever since they ended up in the losers bracket, these guys have been dominating every single step of the way. It seems like they've really adapted to that aggressive style, so I'm excited to see what they bring today.
Yeah, I mean, they jumped down into the lower bracket, and one of the first teams they have to face is like their longtime scrim partner, and we're like, okay, this should be a real close, really good matchup, and it was a complete blowout. It was the complete opposite here. But let's take a look at the schedule so far. Funhavers, in our first set of the day, got a 2-0 over the neighborhood, and now we have the rematch of Duck Club and JUSTF6. And then our last set of the day, the best of 5, the kind of qualification match to the SPL is also another revenge match out there for a long-time rivalry between these guys way back in Season 8. It feels like it was so long ago, but in reality, it was like 2-3 months ago at this point. And one final look at the bracket here. Winner of this game will move on to face the Funhavers. And then again, we'll be eliminated down to one team. The winner of that will then have to face the loser of the Oni Homies and the Winner Dog in order to try and vie for that final spot in the SPL.
Man, that is a tough task, right? Like, the top 2 seeds already finding themselves in a final situation means that you're competing for the chance to play against some of the favorites in this tournament. It really is do or die right now. It's win or go home for just about everybody, except for, the Winner Dogs and the Only Homies. So not everybody, most of them.
Just yet, at least. The loser of that one will be on the do or die on the back track there. Yeah, they'll be down on the lower end here. But talking about this JUSTF6 roster, I mean, we talked to the coach at the very beginning of the week after their first set loss. He came in and he said, man, we just didn't expect this. You know, the EU meta has always been a little bit different outside of teams like Elysium and adapting and whatnot, and adapting squads. They're always kind of more of the NA style of EU team. But there's this whole other meta that's always developed around there that's very kind of slow-paced one. That's what JUSTF6 kind of came into this tournament with, and that's kind of how this team is played. But then Alpha comes in after the first game and says, okay, we got a little bit blindsided, and we kind of understand how this new meta is going, and ever since then, Mastkill and the rest of his team have really stepped it up.
Yeah, they're like, oh, we're allowed to play aggressive? Cool. We're going to do exactly that. I mean, it seems like this is a team that was like North American raised at points, right? It has just been constant fighting across the map. And I think centering the conversation around Mastkill is a great way to start because he's one of the newest additions to this team as well. On his first week, I said, and I quote, hey, man, if he doesn't do great, that's fine. It's not an easy role to slot into a team. Jungle really is integral to the styling, and it's something you need to build synergy with. And then immediately he like pops off. I think it was like a 10-0 performance on the Susano. And then from there, he's been having a great year. And even on this LAN, my man is making insane mechanical plays. I didn't even know you could do something like that. Use the teleport to get past a Thoth ultimate. Legitimately, Mastkill has been one of the key win conditions for JUSTF6. It's just that aggressive styling where he's getting involved very early on. He's initiating these fights in the late game. He's shifting up his style. Sometimes he's going for this full assassin. At other times, it's nearly full tank Circuit jungles as well. I think this is a guy you really need to keep your eye on, despite his relative new status to this squad.
I mean, a very aggressive jungler. Now that he's been given permission to be such an aggressive player out here, and he's been able to lead the charge with his team in order to get them some very nice wins down here on the lower bracket. Ever since their loss to Duck Club, it's been nothing but 2-0s for this team moving forward. They've been able to shut down every single person that they've gone up against in pretty convincing fashion. First, their opponents over in the EUSCC in Thunderhead, and now we'll see how they can do up against Duck Club. And we'll talk to Mastkill a little bit and kind of dig into his brain, kind of thinking on how things have been going this LAN more than anything. You guys had a very struggled day one up against Duck Club, but ever since then, you guys have been doing nothing but improvement. What's kind of been that conversation around the team ever since that first game to get to this point?
Yeah, well, we came from EU with sort of like a slower playing around solo lane meta. We didn't really value Obelisk, and it's so OP. Like, it's so OP. It gives you, like, literally, like, 1k gold at, like, minute 5 or something. And so we kind of shifted our attention towards that, like I think most teams have. And since then, we've been doing a lot better. Also, the first day was obviously our first time in LAN, so we were, a bit nervous and stuff. But now we're just confident, really.
Yeah,
And
you guys have
yep.
really been popping off these last couple of sets. Duck Club, the team that sends you down here to the lower bracket, and now you kind of get a revenge matchup against them. What's the confidence like going up against this team a second time?
I think we're really confident. I think we'll win. I think we'll win in a convincing manner, and yeah, we're just gonna bring it all. If we don't win, we will try our best, and we will give a good show. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you can only ever ask for the best out of you guys. So far, congrats on the run that you guys have made, and best of luck in your set coming up.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Just a vote of confidence coming from the players, and hearing that this is the first time for all of them coming to a LAN is also a bit of a testament. We always talk about when players come to an event like this for the first time, their first time being with the team in the same room, playing on these LANs, you can get a little bit of those jitters, and now that we've seen be able to shake those off, I think he has all right to say that they have some confidence coming in today.
I mean, it's a clear difference from what we saw on day one from these guys. I think that nervousness can be a great example of, or not example, a great reason to see that this performance has improved so much. They have seemed a lot more comfortable, or seemed rather. I noticed them in the lobby. They're just kind of chilling out. They're relaxing. They're having great conversations with these other guys, and that confidence, that comfort, has translated to their style of play. Before it was very slow, very withdrawn, very kind of waited out. We're going to play a reactive style. And since they've become more comfortable, it's let's gun it down. Let's just W key. All right, let's get to this obelisk. Let's make things happen. And it really has been suiting them very well.
And now they have to face off against the team that sent them to this part of the bracket in the Duck Club here. A lot of veteran names on this team, Hurrywin and Ducky, who were just in the SPL last season, just a couple of months ago. Bring back some old talent in Snoopy and Moswal. And the Luconium, kind of the fresh blood here, at least up towards SPL standards. He's been kind of playing in that SCC SOC for quite some time, though, Mifflin.
Yeah, he has, man. And Luconium, I think, was kind of the dark horse for this team, right? I mean, there's so much talent built into this squad, man. Just so much tenure, so much pedigree around some of these players. Ducky's been in the SPL for a very long time. Moswal is a world's MVP, right? You've got Hurrywin, who admittedly is switching roles, so we're not seeing that same level of mid-comfort that we've seen from him now that he's playing support. That is going to be an adaptation for him, but I think it's one that he's made relatively well considering how little time he's had practicing in it. And then you got Snoopy in the ADC. I mean, I don't need to sing Snoopy's praises. I don't want to build that guy's ego anymore. We know he's incredibly good. So let's talk about one of the newcomers, or maybe one of the old heads who's coming back, Moswal. This guy has been impressing me. I don't know how much he's been playing in the years since his pseudo-retirement. I haven't seen him in the ranked streets nearly as much. But I can say I played against him in an old guard match very recently. He dropped like a 15-2 bomb. Kind of embarrassed me. He's not a jungler, by the way. I don't know why he had to do all that.
And you were.
Yeah, hey, okay. Shut up. All right? I'm not done talking. Moswal's incredibly talented, man. And it's been a treat to see him come back. I love watching this guy play.
Yeah, and Moswal will be standing by for our pregame interview, so we can talk to him just a little bit to kind of talk about some of the new advancements in the game, kind of your new advancements coming back into the scene here. It kind of feels like some of the gods that you get to play now in the mid lane kind of are reminiscent of what was around whenever you were kind of playing and dominating the scene. Does it kind of feel like you're returning to old here in mid?
Yeah, I'm not pressing for and dying. I'm pressing for and like killing them. It's kind of good.
That's always got to feel good there. Kind of similar to talking with Mastkill earlier. It is a revenge match for you guys. You did get the 2-0 earlier in the week, but seeing the improvements that JUSTF6 has made, do you have any worries maybe about this team coming into this matchup?
Not particularly, but they are very good.
Yeah, it seems it's a pretty strong team out here. Love the confidence coming out of them. A bit of a rough patch against you guys with the Winter Dogs yesterday. What's kind of been some of the conversation around the team kind of getting ready for this match?
We just need to probably do some stuff on Instagram or something. They're just too handsome.
Do some stuff on Instagram. Step up the Instagram, maybe even the Twitter game out here. See if you guys can get some wins out there. Coming into today, I mean, this is the do or die moment. Is there any added pressure on you guys knowing that you no longer have that safety net of that one loss? Is it now even more pressure that it's 2 games and you're out?
Not really. Just gotta get out there and game.
Get out there and do it, and make sure
Fair
that you
enough.
can get the nice win out there. Maybe nah, I won't give Mifflin the edge here. Thanks so much for taking the time to talk with me, Moswal. Best of luck in your set.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, scram. Get out of here.
Okay.
Yeah, get going.
Okay.
Go play Smite. Go game on Instagram.
You know what? I'm glad I didn't ask my last question I was going to throw to him, which would have been, is it more satisfying for you to win or to beat the other team because I didn't want to give you the edge there, Mifflin.
Wait, so you thought that he was going to say it felt better to make people lose?
Well,
That's
you know
what
what
you're saying right now.
He probably would think that,
And there
honestly.
you
So
have it.
there's your mental win, Mifflin. We'll give you the mental win. Maybe we can ask him if they get a win out here up in this set. JUSTF6 and Duck Club, the revenge match. It was one of our first sets of the entire week, and now it's the one that will determine which one of them actually ends up going home. This is no longer just send him down to the loser's bracket, hope you never see him again. This is now you get a hope you nice little win here. But we do have to take a very short break before we get into that set, so stick around, and we'll be right back. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. So sorry for the delays. A little bit of audio issues coming through here, but hopefully we should have all that nice and fixed up. And we should be getting you guys into picks and bans and get game number 1 rolling here very, very shortly. My name is J Mac Tucker. Still joining me here on the desk is Mifflin as we get ready to go into this picks and bans here for JUSTF6 and Duck Club. And kind of talking a little bit of maybe a pre-ramble before we get into those picks and bans. Some of the gods that we haven't seen, as far as you and I are concerned, that we're maybe kind of wondering why we haven't seen more of. Atlas, probably the only one that really comes up to mind instantly, and it seems that only Duck Club's been willing to play that god.
Look, man, I'm willing to cede when I've got a bad point, all right? And you know what? I came in on day one. I said, I think Atlas is going to be like perma-banned. I think he's going to be a top pick. He just does so much damage. He's got so much lockdown. I just got to be wrong, right? Like, we would have seen more of them if they were valued by these players. Maybe Duck Club proves it yet again. I mean, last time we saw them lock it in, it looked really good. Maybe they can prove it here today. I get a little bit of validation.
Maybe so. So
I hope
far,
so.
it has been that Fenrir that's been the primary. We'll see what gets locked in here for picks and bans. Game number 1, JUSTF6. First pick this time around here up against the Duck Club in the elimination rematch between these two titans of teams. JUSTF6 have been on the rise ever since their knockout into the lower bracket, and Duck Club wanting to prove themselves and trying to earn their spots for a few of these players back in towards the SPL with some role swaps and some new talent. jumping onto their team. First bans that come through, Izanami and Kleena on the side of JUSTF6. Duck Club, they're not going to let that Amaterasu through, and for all reason, that god is kind of crazy.
Yeah, you want to know why Duck Club banned Amaterasu legitimately?
Ducky doesn't want to play it?
No, their second pick.
That too.
Yeah, that's like all of it. I'm pretty sure. If they were in first pick, Amaterasu would not be in their ban column. She's just so adaptable right now. Her ability to go towards these neutral objectives, her laning phase is incredibly strong after like level 4. So I think that it's pretty likely that we see Amaterasu highly valued for the rest of this tournament, because I know that every single solo laner, every single team is very capable of playing that are still in the bracket.
We do have Gilgamesh, Horus, interestingly enough, and Bastet. Maybe not so interesting that Horus is getting banned. He's been seeing a lot of priority, especially among these EU teams and a couple of other players out here. Rotwin was kind of praised as having one of the best Horuses in the EU region, so maybe no surprise that we do see that one banned here in game number 1. But it's a Charybdis first pick hover, and then as soon as I even think about mentioning it, it gets swapped over to the more common first pick out of these gods in Fenrir.
Yeah, and that is a flex pick, I guess. I mean, you're probably taking this into the support role just because of how mobile he is, how strong he is in the laning phase, his ability to kind of just bully out on his own. If you match him up with another god that's got similar kill pressure, all of a sudden with this new Frenzy start, you've got level 2 kill potential, which is why I was curious to see that Medusa hover, considering Fenrir has a really good matchup in a Medusa, unless you're able to pick something in the support role that's able to interrupt that brutalize consistently. Hou-Yi makes a little bit more sense. You're sacrificing a little bit of pressure in lane for the ability to fight.
Cernanos locked in. We see JUSTF6 was one of the first teams to bring this god out. And that was up against their opposition in Thunderhead previously on a tournament. And that god has seen a lot of success so far. And another god that's been seeing some extreme success, especially in the hands of Josh in our last set, is Thoth. We'll see how Sotos can perform on it. But if you want to talk about giving players a comfort pick here, Zeus for Moswal, it's a pick that is synonymous with his name for pretty much as long as he's been playing Smite.
Yeah, the meme around Moswal back in the day was he'd play Zeus or he'd play Opwash and he'd press 4 and then he would just die. But it's okay because Lightning Storm and Empty the Crypts are kind of like persistent damage on the map. And that was a legitimate strategy. I mean, he would go blink every game. He'd go right into the back line and say, all right, I did it. 4 keys off. I'm good. And then it was legitimately working. I mean, it got him a World's MVP. And now he said, all right, I press 4, I kind of just kill them, and I get to live. And I think that's maybe a byproduct of just how much stronger mid laners have become in Season 9. The double pen build obviously makes you hit your power strides a lot more quickly. It definitely fits his style. We could see him go for the library build. I doubt it. That really has fallen off. But if there is a little bit more backline dive from JUSTF6 drafted, I think it is still certainly something that you could go towards just to dissuade that dive from coming your way.
Oh, there he is again. Jithan's in the back. Not sure why we're getting a nice little camera of him, but he just wants to be left to his own devices and working
Snoop
in the back line. And yeah, Snoopy right there on camera for everybody to see, front and center. But kind of going back on some of these picks here, Serket picked up for Duck Club to pair along with that Hou-Yi as the top 2 picks there. And kind of taking this one away from Mastkill. And you need to take a pick away from Mastkill, kind of put him a little bit further on the back foot. But instead of the Serket jungle that's been the more popular pick this week, it's going to be Serket most likely now going over into the support role with this Daji locked in.
Yeah, you're able to match up some of that aggression that Fenrir's got. You're able to interrupt the Brutalize very consistently. And I think that Serket, Fenrir, and Horus are in this new category that I like to describe as mobile supports. Supports that can essentially just walk up to the obelisk, steal some flowers, and really just don't have to worry about it. Horus can ult away or just kind of dash to a teammate through walls. Serket's one of the most mobile gods in the game. Fenrir's got 2 leaps built into his kit, so it kind of facilitates that I'm going to int for flowers playstyle, except you're not inting. You're surviving, which is just valuable.
You're hoping.
You're hoping to survive. Daji locked in for the Duck Club. Going to have some decent matchups here. Cern, Thoth, all going to struggle with that CC. Probably going to keep those beads on cooldown for the majority of this game. I thought we might see this from Mastkill on the other side. The Susano getting locked in. That's something that he's gone towards once some of these other picks have been taken off the table. And with the Wheelish and Erlong Shen taken off the table, better believe that this CC core is going to get rounded out now. JUSTF6, they've got a very strong core 5.
Yeah, you want to add some CC to that with that Cerberus as that last lock in, a massive one in the giant AoE in that Stygian Torment, Ghastly Breath being a powerful slow
So
and prot
ghastly.
shred, and then that paralyzing spit
So paralyzing.
that comes up right afterwards to get that stun. Lots of CC in this god, and then Susano to pair with it. One more pick over to the Duck Club, And we're waiting for their solo lane pickup here. So we do know that the Cerberus going to be going over in towards that lane, most likely, probably guaranteed at this point. So what does Ducky, the man on the camera, want to... This man is relaxed.
Yeah, you know, I actually talked to him about his fit because I think he's super fresh today. He told me that he stole those leggings. Those are leggings, by the way, that he stole from his girlfriend. And he just happened to have a bandana that matched him perfectly. And that's my shout-out for this.
That's a pretty nice fit and a pretty relaxed man here waiting to see what the final pick of the Duck Club will be. And it's going to be Chalk as the final selection here for the Duck Club. But a very physical-heavy composition. One more time, 4 physical and only a Zeus for their magical damage here. Mifflin, looking at these 2 drafts, where's kind of the power spikes for both these 2 teams?
Man, you're looking at, God, it's hard to say late game for a quadruple physical composition, but just the power of Zeus come late game, I think is something you got to keep your eyes on. Definitely going to give a slight early game edge to JUSTF6 though, just because you've got that Fenrir on your squad. You've got the Thoth that's going to hit his power stride literally at second item if he goes for that double penetration build. And then Susano's got great targets on the other side that he can target out. I mean, Chalk, sure, you can escape, but if you're using the third ability on Susano properly, you're able to chase him out pretty easily. Even Zeus, largely immobile, has had some buffs towards the tail end of Season 8 / early portions of Season 9, where he gets a lot of movement speed from tossing out that shield, but not enough, I think, to escape the Susano. I've got concerns for this Duck Club draft, man. I mean, we talked about it earlier this week. If you're going to go for quadruple physical, there are like 3 picks that you're looking towards to kind of make it a lot easier to perform in those late game team fights. And it's Nemesis, Charybdis, and AMC. All of these picks have phenomenal defense shred that really helps you out a lot. And they've kind of got a lighter version of it, the Duck Club that is, in that Ho Yi's stem is going to make it pretty easy to finish off these low HP targets. Maybe you can go for like a Rune Forge or something like that for Chalk that's going to give you additional damage almost all the time because you've got the reins around your feet. But as long as JUSTF6 kind of itemizes properly and gets themselves to the late game, I think that they could essentially just outscale with defense because their front line is so clean. The Thoth is going to have great poke. I might be favoring JUSTF6 here.
No, and kind of talking about some of the builds that have developed over time. You know, when Chalk kind of came back at the end of Season 8, we saw a little bit more of this hybrid damage kind of build. You know, you get your first defense item online, then you go like Transcendence and then Caduceus Shield. Haven't really seen a whole lot of those kind of builds coming from soul laners. It's mostly been a lot of the auto attack based soul laners or guardians in this case. And then kind of talking on the opposite side here, you're mentioning building some physical defense on the side of JUSTF6. Celestial Legion Helm has been a very popular item as of recent for these mages.
Yeah, for mages, for soul laners, I think we're going to see a couple of helmets. Cerberus and Thoth going to be able to itemize towards that pretty easily. You're not really sacrificing a whole lot of power. Your poke is still there. I would still like to see Thoth kind of go for that Spear of Desolation in the first slot just because it boosts you so quickly. Yeah, man. The Duck Club, I think it's going to come down to the duo lane. If their duo lane's able to get rolling, establish pressure, you're not too concerned about it, but it's hard to do up against the Fenrir.
It's going to be a very tight match here. Game number 1 between JUSTF6 and the Duck Club on an elimination up for grabs. Who's going to be the one to take it on top?
At the end of this best of 3, one more team going home. JUSTF6, the team that has stuck together throughout the years of the SEC and has made a run here in the lower bracket, or Duck Club, the newly formed squad, hoping to join the ranks of the SPL. My name is Dolson. Aggro!
What's up?
Live in studio. Oh, God!
I'm
Doug with us
back.
as well. And Aggro, what a match for you to rejoin us for here. Duck Club versus JUSTF6. Really the implications. I mean, it's a lesser-known roster of guys on JUSTF6 that have stuck together and really built up that chemistry versus a whole roster of well-known guys that have kind of formed a team together and are building things up.
Man, what a crazy week it's been. I've been chomping at the bit to get on the mic because these games have just been so awesome, and I think that this matchup is one that coming into this week would have been a pretty easy prediction. You know, JUSTF6, sure, they've got some team chemistry, but they've never really fully put it together. They'll probably do fine, but not really favored in a matchup like this. Whereas Duck Club, they've been a team that people expected great things from, and for good reason. They've got tons of name power. They've got some built-in synergy. But Duck Club has not performed to our expectations, or at least to my expectations. And JUSTF6 has certainly exceeded them. I mean,
Agreed.
Mastkill in particular has been playing so well. Rotwin, I've been really impressed with a lot of jungle support duos so far this week, and Rotwin and Mastkill have been near the top.
Speaking of
Nice.
support, that's Hurrywin gets the double taunt. Toddy has to jump back. Rotwin in for the double stun. Snoopy there to return some damage as well. And I think we can pick up right there talking about supports, unless Hurrywin will go further in, which he will not. The transition from mid to support can't be an easy one, although he hits it again. He's making it look. Oh my God! He does it to him. Snoopy, the ghost of Snoopy, sitting here in studio from range, grabs first blood. Unbelievable. And then it could get worse for the duo lane of JUSTF6 here. Luconium rotates to the left, and
Goodbye.
Snoopy hunting down his second kill. Nearly got it with the ricochet. Luckily for JUSTF6, Mastkill in mid. At least able to grab one, but Duck Club on the left side of the map routes JUSTF6.
Unbelievable. Hurrywin threw 2 Cobra's Kiss abilities out there, and he hit 4 people total. He got the double Cobra's Kiss back-to-back times. That second one in particular groups them up perfectly. Snoopy's Ricochet, man, this is insane. I mean, this is what we were expecting out of this duo lane. These two have played together so much. They have such great high-end potential at the SPL level. I mean, this is just unreal. This is one of the best duo lane plays you will see all of Season 9, and we just got started. Like, it doesn't get better than that. The perfect dive bomb. He reads the brutalize. What a joke, dude. What a joke that Snoopy's able to pull that off, man. And this is what we expect from this Duck Club team. Duo lane is so important at this early Season 9 meta. We expected Hurry and Snoopy to come in and do that. They didn't yesterday up against Winter Dogs. If they're playing like this, though, you got to feel good about their odds.
Well, you know that Hurry on Twitter took the loss yesterday. Tough. So a start to this set like that for Hurrywin will build up that confidence as the set goes on. Snoopy under some pressure from Toddy, as we've seen the CERN start to rise in popularity a little bit here this weekend. Ho Yi as well has been one of those popular picks. The value of Toddy in this pick here in the duo lane definitely going to be called into question in a set like this when you're under constant pressure.
100%. I mean, and he's on a pick in Kernanos that when it gets ahead is unbelievable. This god is nearly unbeatable in a 1v1. You know, the passive, once he starts to barrel stuff with those autos, makes a huge difference. He now has a cripple on the 2 whenever he hits you directly, so now it's a root and cripple, which means it's great up against a character like Ho Yi that oftentimes relies on that mobility in order to be safe. But when Kernanos falls behind, he's a character without CC immunity up against Circuit Daji. This Daji pick for Luconium is just so good. And I really feel like that's going to be key, because if Toddy starts to get off to a lead, all it takes is Luconium rotating over, and that should be a free kill basically every single time. And Daji, not always seen, but when we see her, it's normally because she's great counter pick style god. Think she's fantastic up against what JUSTF6 has, and Luconium's got to step up and really make this counter pick work.
Luconium's at level 5 now, nearly said 4. Convenient timing, goes in, Palau's ready. Mastkill will send out the Typhoon, but one dead jungler in the mid lane. Moswal grabs the kill. Your boy Zeus aggro having a hell of a week here so far. I think it's 6-1, 7-1, something like that. Ridiculously high win rate. And I trust Moswal to be able to play this pick.
Yeah, Moswal is the Zeus player, man. I mean, he gets it. He knows that he's got to do enough to warrant this pick, and sometimes that requires dying, and by sometimes I mean like most of the time it requires dying, but it's all about getting your damage off in those right instances, and Moswal is an expert at that playstyle.
Everyone has just been obnoxious. He has been living all over the jungle on the left side of the map. That is the second red buff in a row that Duck Club just group up, knock down, and that slow, small trickle of gold and XP has built up about a 1.5, 1.6k gold lead. And of course, you know, I think we've had plenty of discussions about the flowers and the scepter and how much that's worth. We've seen supports throwing away their lives for it.
Yeah.
Throughout points of this weekend. We'll always feel better when Hurrywin and the Duck Club are that far ahead on the left side of the map. You can kind of do it for free.
It's very, very difficult to come back on the duo side of the map right now, and that's why these high pressure supports are high value. That's why Fenrir was first pick in this game. It's why Circuit was top 2. It's the mobility that Mifflin mentioned is absolutely part of it, but it also requires you to have that type of kill pressure, because once you get ahead on the left side of the map in particular, it's always been good to get ahead on the left side because Gold Fury is an earlier game objective than anything on the right. You've got 2 buffs that are easier to invade in red and in purple. And now you've got this obelisk, which just so happens to be right in between red and purple. And if we're ahead, that's where we were going to be anyways.
Engage from Mastkill onto Moswal. This is the downfall of Zeus. Can't get out of moments like that. And it's Rotwin on the jump in. So it goes over to your support. Less than ideal, but you still get a kill. You're putting Moswal a bit further behind. Now 0-2. Rotwin looking for the engage as well. And Luconium kind of walks into this one, up into the powwow. And it's going to be a dash in from Moswal to read it. Double pull through. Might have been some damage there for a return kill. And yes, there is. Luconium at least able to get one.
Yeah, I hate that beads from Sotos. You have to beads that up front. You have to know how much damage is going to be coming out from that powwow as Heroin still looking for some blood in the enemy jungle.
Might have, if Rotwin wasn't there, things could have been interesting. Heroin will jump away. And this is it's a distinct difference. I'll wait and see what happens with this purple buff. See if Rotwin and Toddy are feeling confident. I don't know how you would be, though. Rotwin has one level lead. Hurrywind with no mana left makes this a tricky fight for the Duck Club. And Snoopy up and over with a 2-level lead. Frenzy gets used. Can Hurrywind survive the onslaught?
Whoa, Snoopy!
He does it again. Another double ricochet. And Snoopy's hitting them all. Rotwin will trickle away, it seems like, from this fight. Hurrywind can't go back in here. And Snoopy just waiting out those cooldowns. If he did that, I don't know, taken off my mic and walked away. Luconium searching for an engage, but Sotos looks like he'll cut off that escape path. When Snoopy's feeling himself like this, on a pick like this,
he's the GOAT.
Untouchable.
Man, I didn't see any trash talk from JUSTF6 before the game, but they must have been talking poop because they're getting snooped right now. That's the way it works. So,
do you think this team should have been the Snoop Troop instead of the Duck Club?
You know, they're both good.
We love Ducky.
Yeah,
right?
they're both good. You know, I think that giving Duck a little bit of a confidence boost wasn't a bad idea.
I think it's a fluid name. Right now, it's the Snoop Troop, right?
Right now, yeah.
And there'll be a game where it's the Duck Club at some point throughout this set.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
But this is going back to what Snoopy's doing this game. You know, he's level 10, 201, hitting everything under the sun. And this is why I think we were high on Duck Club. This is why I was high on Duck Club, because of what he's capable of. And it's games like this.
Hurrywind, another engage. Unlucky, right, for Toddy that Hurrywind and Snoopy are just playing the way that they are right now. 0-3 on the Kernanos. 2-0-2 for Snoopy as a 2-level lead at the moment, but if he sticks around in this lane, could extend that on to 3. What I'm trying to explain about Hurrywind is he keeps finding engages and fighting keeps happening, as it is over here on the right side of the map. Down from the ultimate is Luconium. Rotwin in a bit of a tricky situation as Ducky has rotated over and Moswal will detonate him on the leap on out. And the Duck Club's starting to roll just a little bit.
And this is the type of meta that I expected to see coming into this weekend, is dual lane focused. Let's get ahead on that side of the map. Let's consistently pressure out these purples, these reds, and these obelisks, and just force the enemy team to beat us on the right side of the map. And I think that this strategy, we've seen teams try to execute it, but you know, when you pick something like Kernanos in particular, it's got to get ahead. And I think that JUSTF6 have the dual lane 2v2 to do okay, because Fenrir can do so much for you in those instances. But Thoth is not a lot of pressure in mid. It's good poke pressure, but his wave clear takes a little bit to get going. It's risky for him to rotate, though he certainly can. The Susano just takes so long to get off the ground, whereas Daji hits 5, I'm down to get involved. I'm ready to go. And it still scales really well. You know, both these junglers are scaling junglers, but Luconium on Daji can get involved so much earlier, basically as soon as he hits level 5. And so I think this jungle pick for JUSTF6 has made it difficult for Mastkill to be where he wants to be.
The Duck Club is 4 members of JUSTF6 right now, lurking on the right side. Ducky just used his ultimate, traded out with Listimics. Be a little bit more susceptible, but JUSTF6 do not want to commit onto the tier 1 tower dive. Hurrywind has been a big part of the lead on left as well. And now it looks like we have a pause in a moment where, you know, I think, you know, Hurrywind took the loss yesterday pretty tough. I think he realized he didn't play up to his own personal expectations. You know, he had been trying so hard to learn this new role. As a 1v1 in the jungle might interrupt my point yet again. Mastkill does have beads, we'll use them. Ducky on the chase, though, will force Mastkill to dash away. Point being, this is what I think you expect out of Hurrywind as a teleport coming into the left side of the map. This point will never get made as Rotwin on the disengage.
Ducky here as well now because Listemics was showing face, and that was a really good last breath from Hurry to prevent himself from getting picked up there by Rotwin. But I know where you were going with the point, Dave, and
He's
certainly
playing
to have
better.
he's playing a lot better today.
He was sad with how he played yesterday.
Yes,
God
all those
bless.
things certainly true. And I think it's important for Hurry to have a bounce back set and to play this way because, you know, even a player who is confident in their abilities, as Hurwin deserves to be, doing the role swap, feeling heavy about how you're going to go in and then not performing up to your expectations can be tough.
We went off to a 1-0-3 start on the Circuit. Soto's kind of just walked at. We've seen Thoth escape death all throughout the day, but it won't happen here. Mastkill has been pulling back individual kills. It's a 2-1-2 Susano. hi-rez Lament just completed. Good Stygian Torment. No one there on the follow-up. The Duck Club snag one, but again, there is an answer back from Mastkill, and you can start to see some of those power spike items connecting.
Still, Toddy is unable to walk towards any farm at all. I mean, he just is not allowed
I can't believe he has a purple buff.
into the jungle. I know, that's that feels lucky at this point as the Duck Club head towards the Gold Fury. Listemix here.
Listemix does not have ults, though. Stygian Torment used on the back end of the last fight. And the leap will be his last line of escape, but Hurry went on the engage, and it is perfect. Snoopy on a warpath at 4:02, a double kill for Snoop, and he is rampaging his Duck Club rally around the Gold Fury.
And this is exactly what I wanted to see from this team, starting to group up, using their great team fight presence, because even though they've got something like a Circuit support, not typically a great team fighter because her CC is harder to land on multiple people, usually a little bit more single target, not bringing a ton of damage anymore. It's tons of AoE from Duck Club. Snoopy's got his Sunbreaker. Moswal's got Lightning Storm. Ducky's got Storm Call. You know, you've got a lot of AoE being covered here by Duck Club in non-traditional ways. And I really like their composition for that reason. I think that they excel in these little 2v2 skirmishes while still having team fight presence whenever they get to that team fight stage. But there should never be an even team fight the rest of this game. I mean, Duck Club up 5,000 gold, 13 minutes in, this type of lead. This game should be over in their favor, but we've seen them not execute particularly well on leads before. We've seen JUSTF6 really be able to come back, so definitely can't count them out.
JUSTF6, a roster that's seen it all, including Ducky alone in a 2 versus 1. The silence from the Chalk lasts forever, but forever not long enough, and Listemix will run down Ducky. So Ducky falls for the first time this game. That'll give Listemix a little bit of time to build up some experience over there on the right side of the map.
Man, Listemix and Mastkill are really in good positions, though.
Yeah.
Just as much of a train wreck as the left side has been so far for JUSTF6.
3 levels in the jungle.
The right side's looking good, and this is what I was talking about with Luconium, where this is a great dodgy pick, but I don't think Luconium has had his best performances so far this week. I think he's been capable of doing more and has struggled to find his role. And that's, you know, very common for a player like Luconium, who is very talented mechanically, absolute ranked monster, but this is his first real foray into the competitive scene. And it's just such a different game. It's just played in such a different way that we see this happen to players quite a bit. So I don't think it's saying Luconium is not good enough or can't do it or anything like that. But certainly you need to see a little bit more from the jungler. And right now, Mastkill is showing how you play at a competitive level when your team is behind. How many times has Mastkill gone to duo? 0.
Yeah,
and that's the move, by the way. For all you ranked junglers, if your duo lane is getting snooped on like this, don't go.
And they're going to be yelling at you to go, right?
Don't listen to them. Because all that's going to happen is he's going to style on you, and you're going to die, and now you have no win conditions. Right now, this is the win condition.
Right, and it's on Ducky. Ducky again being ganked out. He'll get a big old silence, but the Stygian Torment's right there on the other end. Can he buy enough time, though, for Luconium to make a difference? Mastkill, the perfect target, and Luconium's got it. Ducky will be the sacrifice. But Ducky, for Mastkill, who's been the leader of this JUSTF6 team so far this game, might feel all right. Hurrywin, though, aggro joining the fray.
Looking for Listemix, tosses him back towards Moswal, and Mozzie's got the damage. Luconium's the one who gets the kill, though.
And maybe a chase on a Rotwin who will brutalize and leap away. Ends up being a 2-for-1 over on right. Something Duck Club happy to take, especially given the way the rest of the map has gone. A 5, you heard it. Okay, fine. 4 level lead over on left. And Snoopy, any opening here, you imagine he's taking a fight, but maybe going to be difficult to find it. You got to be careful in moments like this. Although I think to your point, aggro, Snoopy probably realizing not much pressure will find its way in behind him. Constantly putting up pressure on the left side could open up 2v1, something like that. I think Snoopy powerful enough, he might just win a 2v1 at this point, though.
Yes.
definitely will win a 3v2 around the purple buff if JUSTF6 stick around, which they will not. And the Duck Club continue to put pressure on the left side buffs.
Soto's trying to secure red, and he will, but he's got some angry Duck Club members for trying to take away his own jungle at this point, because Duck Club has owned that side of the map so hard so far. And now if you're Duck Club, you know, you've realized, okay, Mastkill's pretty strong, Listemix is in a pretty good spot, Ducky's going this full power chalk build, just now starting to get some defense, so we want to protect Ducky, I think, at this point. You don't want to give Mastkill these continued opportunities to kill a fairly squishy warrior. So I like Ducky starting to group up with the team. He'll get his farm through these neutral objectives that Duck Club can just brute force down anyways. And then he can start to get a little bit tankier and have that little bit of utility that you expect from the Chalk. Because this build for Chalk, it is good come late game. I still think this can really work well because of his mobility and his damage reduction on the ultimate and sustain on the 3. You know, you get scaling on that. So by building power, you still get more survivability because you're healing for more. I think that this build can work, but JUSTF6 has done a really good job at punishing the weak point, which is he's not tanky yet, and he's not dealing enough damage to 100 to 0 anyone anymore. So it's this weird, awkward point where he's just not, he's doing a little bit of this and a little bit of that, but not enough of anything. And JUSTF6 have really punished that window well.
A Bulwark of Hope will help him sustain up in some of these fights a little bit longer. Celestial Legion Helm aggro, if we're talking about builds and kind of individual items that have risen in popularity, I feel like this item has found its way onto many, many mid laners throughout the course of this weekend. I believe we'll be able to look over this Primal Fury, no pushback from JUSTF6. And the Legion Helm is something that both Moswal and Sotos have gone for this game.
Really like it up against 4 physical compositions where you are going to be the primary focus. And right now, mid laners are dealing enough damage that they are usually the primary focus. So I think that Celestial Legion Helm against Fenrir support, Serket support, really, really smart and feels really good. It does feel bad that you're not getting to stack your flat pen like everyone wants to, that everyone's talking about for good reason, but still, it does give you so much survivability, and it's still 90 magical power. You're not trading that much power. You know, the difference, what 15 flat pen is worth, like so much actual power that it actually is a pretty big difference. But at the end of the day, you want to stay alive at least a little bit longer. Gods like Thoth and Zeus, they've got enough base damage that they're going to be swinging anyways. I don't think we should be seeing Celestial when it's a traditional Guardian support. You know, if it's just a physical jungler, warrior, and hunter, I don't think I'm necessarily going Legion Helm. But in games like this, where it's going to be a tanky physical on top of you, reducing that damage to basically 0 is very valuable.
Duck Club grouping up here around the right side of the map. When you got your level 19 Hou-Yi and level 19 Zeus, somewhere over on right. Writing might be on the wall here, especially 19 minutes in. Pyromancer is going to be the first thing pulled. JUSTF6 will not send Toddy over to the right. So if there is a Fire Giant pull, it'll be for free for Duck Club. At least for free in a 4v5. As free as that can be. JUSTF6, though, will back away. Duck Club considering it aggro, but won't go full on for the Fire Giant pull.
Yeah, I understand their hesitancy because they don't have great secure. And Sotos, even while being behind, can threaten with that final judgment. But at some point we got to do it, and it's a Frenzy and a Zeus ult and a Sia to the Fire Giant. That fast.
Just to be sure, we'll drop the ultimates, but JUSTF6, we're not in range anyway. Duck Club have pulled far and away ahead of this game. They've got FG on all 5. They've got 10,000 gold over JUSTF6. And still, as of now, 3 more towers still to knock down on this map. You're JUSTF6, you're 20 minutes into this game. The laning phase has not gone well. You still have some windows. You know, jungle and solo not that far behind. Everywhere else is that far behind. You're hoping that your Phoenix defense is able to make up for the lack of levels, the lack of XP.
Thoth is very good on these Phoenix defenses. Don't really love Fenrir in these moments, but you're not picking Fenrir to be behind on your Phoenix siege, so you know that kind of makes sense. I think that who really shines on Siege is obviously Zeus. Everyone knows that. But I think Chalk is very, very valuable in these instances because just a simple 1-3 covers so much ground underneath a Phoenix, and it makes it so annoying for backliners to try and step up and help their frontline, or frontline to get out of the way of the damage coming from Duck Club's backline. I think Chalk is really, really good on Siege offense and Siege defense, and having him could be a big difference maker because otherwise this Thoth poke, they can keep them at such a range that it's going to be difficult for anyone on Duck Club to answer.
Yeah.
At least with that Chalk Rain, it can make it so that Rotwin, Listemix, Mastkill, they have a harder time getting support or retreating after their initial engage.
I wonder how much pressure we will see on those Phoenixes by the end. I mean, we've got plenty of time, don't get me wrong. 2 minutes, 20 seconds, but still a tier 2 in left, still a tier 2 in mid. Kind of a roundabout rotation from JUSTF6 here. If they don't back, they could go behind Duck Club, but it looks like just searching out, seeing if anyone from Duck Club was out on their own. We're not going to defend these tier 2 towers anyway, and so Duck Club will knock those down. So you're starting to go into this next moment here, fully stocked up. Everyone's got their ultimates. Everyone on Duck Club have their relics ready to go. Still waiting on that bracer for 20 seconds from Rotwin, but other than that, Aggro, as close a fight as you're going to get here between these two teams as far as his ultimates, actives, things like that being ready to go. And a decent little power spike for Sotos. He's got the tier 2 op shard online, so some of that percent pen could help in shredding down the front.
Yeah, it looks like Duck Club aren't super interested in going for a Phoenix right away. Maybe they are. Maybe they're just taking the safe way around as Hurry gets engaged on.
Is this the target, though? Hurrywin pulls the eyes of 2 of JUSTF6, and the Typhoon will find its way into the back, but Mastkill has no recourse, cannot get back into his base, and here comes Ducky beneath the left side Phoenix. Stygian Torment's big, and there's a silence. There's a pullback in from JUSTF6. They are so far behind, but somehow they are not losing the fight. But it's only a matter of time until Snoopy hits the damage, hits the target. Moswal's gonna do so as well, and Listemix will fall, and Duck Club, they'll take game 1.
Look, man, I came back ready to do some analysis work. I was really excited. This one isn't particularly difficult. This was just duo diff, man. I mean, Snoopy and Hurry just absolutely waxed Rotwin and Toddy in that 2v2 early on and put the game in a position where, in what world could Toddy really in particular fight back? Rotwin and Toddy have played really well so far this LAN, so I'm still expecting them to be able to bounce back and do very good things. I don't think that means it's over, but when you've got a duo lane with Snoopy and Hurry in it, and they're going to be able to pull off mechanical plays like we saw on the first few levels, sometimes you're just going to roll the dice and go, we've hit everything. We ricocheted them off the wall.
That's right.
And we've killed them, and now the game is over because we're going to be able to snowball.
Yeah, to really contextualize this, 4 members of Duck Club were level 20 at the end of this 23 or so minute game.
Cool.
0 members of JUSTF6 were level 20 by the end of this 23, 24 minute game. Just far behind. And that's surprising given that the right side of the map and the jungle still felt okay for JUSTF6. By the time the grouping happened, there was no real objective fighting, anything like that. Smite just kind of happened to JUSTF6. Snoopy
happened.
just kind of happened to JUSTF6. Game number 1, over to the Duck Club. Can they repeat? Stick around and find out.
everybody, and welcome back to set number 2 of our day. Game number 1 is all said and done, and Duck Club come up with a very nice and, well, very convincing win here over JUSTF6. And Agro kind of said it at the very end of the cast there, and I think we can go ahead and expand on this a little bit, Mifflin, but that game was a lot of duo diff, specifically Snoopy with one of the flashiest first bloods that we've gotten to see this weekend.
Look, it was a sick first blood, and yes, it was a duo diff, but come on, let's give some credit to Moswal as well. He was like 4 levels up at one point, nearly 5 levels. I'd say like mid and duo diff. And you know what? Agro should just be happy that I'm not talking about the jungler, because I really want to. But he's right to bring up Snoopy. I almost don't want to talk over it just because this clip's going to be so sick, but got to give credit to Hurrywind as well with the double taunt setup, predicts the brutalize. I mean, like, I don't know. He's not playing in studio. Could be hacking. Like, I don't know.
All right, we're not going to bring that upon the man here.
Maybe
Like,
we look into it.
It's already the fact he's got to play from home here, and now he's pulling off plays like this. I mean, bounce after bounce. I mean, at this point of the game, this is where already it started to get out of control. He gets another just crazy triple
he's for
bounce.
sure
there.
hacking.
He's just insane. I mean, this man knows every angle of the jungle, and no shot that you're going to get away from him. Another just easy one for him. I mean, Snoopy just got to do this all game long from basically minute 1.
And this is what we expected from this duo lane, right? Hurrywind and Snoopy, 2 players that have been playing together for a very long time, very historied careers, a lot of synergy, and we hadn't had an opportunity to see that level of dominance until literally just this game. They were saving it for a little bit deeper into the tournament, but once we saw Duck Club establish their pressure, it was just continuous everywhere on the map. They establish a lead, and they not once let go of it, man. And that's exactly what you need to see from a team that I think is newer. If you don't have that, you know, that synergy that comes with playing together for months on end, for years on end, it's all about momentum. It's all about finding that aggression, and they found it.
I think you were right to bring up Luconium earlier, even though haven't really talked much about him. He was down like 4 levels at one point. It was like 15 to 11, something like that. And all of a sudden, he kind of spikes himself right back up, ends up being tied, and then gets ahead of Mastkill, who had been leading the charge for his team all throughout those early stages. And kind of similar to something that we talked about with the neighborhood with dealing with, you know, Jump of Zeus. How do you deal with Jump of Zeus out here? Now, how do we deal with the Thoth? Well, we play literally everywhere except where the Thoth is.
Yeah, 2,700 damage from Isotos. That you're gonna need to see more from that. I know that they weren't playing around the Thoth. I know that it was really like playing around the side lanes, just have Moswal free farm, but Thoth like hits from super far away, like pretty easily. I feel like Sotos probably wants to get a little bit more so involved in game 2.
Yeah, was not able to put out the damage numbers, and a lot of that thanks to Luconium for just constantly, you know, sitting right there next to that Thoth every single time. The kill right in front of the tier 1 tower, that happened very early in the game, and then the kill under that mid lane Phoenix right at the very end of it all. The picks and bans, game number 2 between JUSTF6 and the Duck Club. And once again, the Duck Club, they're going to be in that second pick slot here. JUSTF6 might need to reevaluate a couple of things coming into these picks and bans. The Zeus that's been so prominent throughout the entire weekend, Mifflin, I cannot imagine that Zeus is just going to be allowed to keep getting through all these games.
Maybe, but I think Zeus kind of gets like shrouded there, right? Like, was it the Zeus that won them the game?
Maybe not.
I don't think so. I mean, there was
but it's Moswal Zeus.
It is Moswal Zeus, and they did ban it out, so JUSTF6 are tossing some respect that way. Similarly, I think the Izanami is a very smart ban because you just lost out in pressure in the duo lane. What God kind of automatically establishes pressure in the duo lane? It's Izanami. You don't want to give Snoopy that combo. So already adaptations, but I'm not sure that they've kind of targeted out the raw aggression factor that we saw from the Duck Club.
They did answer a little bit of that aggression, especially one that came from the duo lane. Serket does get banned out right with Zeus and Izanami on the side of JUSTF6. There'll be Bastet, Horus, and Amaterasu on the side of Duck Club. Same 3 bans from them. And Fenrir one more time. Now, he doesn't have the Serket to kind of combat him as far as that duo lane is concerned. But Gilgamesh does get left open. He'll be snap locked here by the Duck Club.
That's flex potential. You could toss it in the soul lane because that's what Duck Club's done in the past. We could see it in support. We could see it in the jungle. What isn't going to be nearly as ambiguous is this Hou Yi lock-in. That's Snoopy. Feed the hot hand.
100%.
I mean, he's hitting wild bounces. He's having a great laning phase. Might as well put him back on that style of pick. But JUSTF6 with this Medusa lock-in, I think, have already made the duo lane much more contentious this time around. You don't have the guaranteed peel already from Duck Club. I think we might see them go towards their support in this pick so that they can kind of target out some of what Fenrir is looking for. I'm not necessarily sure that Bacchus is going to be the answer. If you do lock in Bacchus here, you're still going to find a lot of value from Brutalize on Fenrir. It's going to give this Medusa a lot of time to operate as well. It's more so now Ho Yi's job to self-peel with his own stun rather than kind of leaving it up to the Surcat to taunt off that ability. So both lanes, both duo lanes locked in now for Duck Club and JUSTF6. Both very aggressive styles. Bacchus and Ho Yi can kind of double dive bomb their way into some of these fights and try and chase out some of these lacking mobility gods like Medusa just to lacerate to reposition. But I think she's repositioning towards them anyway. I think it's going to be Fenrir and Medusa just going for dive off rip.
First bans coming through in the second phase. First one is going to be Tyr, which is an interesting one. We have seen Tyr before come out of Listemics in the past. We've also seen Tyr from Ducky. Maybe a little bit of a self-ban of his own here. And then Ardeo for the second ban. Another god that has been seeing a lot of popularity, a lot of play, and also a lot of bans out here. So no surprise seeing that god taken away. Still one of the few Guardians that are kind of remaining from that kind of end of the Season 8 meta moving in towards Season 9. And no surprise that we'll see her banned away out here. And then in a Wheelish ban from the team that has some of the best ways to maybe set up for an Wheelish.
Yeah, but a Wheelish is also like a Mastkill special, right? Like, it's something that we really associate with this guy. It's something I'm sure he would love to play. So just making sure that he's a little bit less comfortable is going to be just fine, I think. Going ahead and take away some of that comfort pick. But Mastkill is also similarly adept at playing things like the Erlong Shen, which is what we saw banned in Game 1. Available, has some okay targets. Ho Yi's pretty easy to lock down as long as you save the pin for after the dive bomb. This could be a game where I think Mastkill gets something he's very comfortable with.
Will be another Dodgy to go up again and try and bully Sodos once more on this Thoth. Medusa and Fenrir both having some CC immunity in their kits, so they have some extra form of safety outside the purification beads. And that last ban was an Agni, so making sure that now we keep Moswal's pick for the very end here, so he'll get a look at the entire draft before the mid laner of the Duck Club locks in their god. Now with Thoth, Zeus, and Agni down, where does Moswal go after this? Still some viable mid laners out there. Merlin has been a very popular mage to kind of fit in and slot in with some of these other compositions.
Yeah, I think so. Merlin's a good call out. I mean, if we want to go like back to Moswal's heyday, Opwash is still out there. I wouldn't really endorse an Opwash lock-in right now, considering already the dive potential that we're seeing from JUSTF6, but it is certainly a possibility. I'm really curious about Mastkill's lock-in here, man, because this is not, just speaking from jungle experience, this is not one where you look at the map, you look at what Duck Club have, and you're like, yeah, there's this jungler that can like body this god, right? There's no really great counter matchups. So I think you go one of two ways. You can either have him shift up and become that Fenrir and have that flex into the jungle, or you go for more so of a facilitator style out of your jungler.
And that facilitator style will be the way of Fenrir, because Khepri gets locked in for the side of JUSTF6. So now it will not be a Medusa Fenrir duo lane. It's going to be the Khepri Medusa over on that side of the map. And then to round out the composition, and Osiris seems to be another one of those perfect auto attack style warriors to kind of fit into this new age solo build.
Yeah, I think so. And you're right, the Fenrir now likely headed for the jungle. The only thing that we could see flex is maybe Fenrir solo, Osiris jungle. We've seen Osiris jungle in the past from Mastkill, but I would hedge my bets more so towards that Fenrir just because I like that matchup a little bit more on the map. And you're really sacrificing your duo lane now with this Khepri lock-in. We were already talking about a little bit earlier how this could be a very aggressive matchup between these two lanes. Now Khepri is just kind of peeling. He's just making sure that Bacchus isn't able to accost this Medusa in lane and then eventually rotate out and kind of act as that safety net for the rest of your team. It feels to me like JUSTF6 have said, look, Snoopy bopped us real hard in the duo. We're not going to play there anymore. We're going to go get into the mid 3v3. That's where we're going to play. That's what we're going to do. And they've got a decent composition for it until I saw this Zhong Kui lock-in, because that team fight is just so hard to deal with. And it is just a great answer to this Khepri. Khepri is a god that has phenomenal single target peel. He's got the ability to stop large mage ultimates from kind of like eliminating one person, like things like Kraken, Searing Pain, immediately counted out by Khepri. But what does Zhong Kui do? He spreads his damage equally throughout an entire team fight, which is super hard for a Khepri to answer.
I mean, Zhong Kui, the last selection here, we saw it from Benny Q yesterday. Had some very strong success out of there. And with kind of the change-ups to some of the builds we've been seeing out of the mid laners, we've been seeing mostly the double flat pen, but kind of similar to Zeus, could potentially be seeing something like the Celestial Legion Helm, the Voidstone. Both, Mifflin, do seem like they could be very popular items to pick up on this Zhonghui.
Yeah, last time we saw Zhonghui locked in, it was double pen early, immediately into the helmet, and I think we could see something similar here. He also does, as you said, itemize towards that Voidstone very well because of the majority of his damage being so close range. You're going to get the full value of that passive more often than not. But Zhonghui is a double-edged sword in that he is an immobile mid laner. If he falls behind, it's pretty easy to stick to him. It's pretty easy to keep him behind. So it's all about Moswal just kind of getting through that laning phase.
The biggest struggle that JUSTF6 kind of had last game was getting through that early stage because just Hurrywind and Snoopy completely ran the duo lane, and it seemed that it was so hard for JUSTF6 to recover from there. Do you think that the composition that they drafted here, Mifflin, is enough to get them through that early stage so that way they can kind of have that fighting chance when we get to the mid-late game?
I think it's play on field, right? Like, your duo lane is not lining up, right? If JUSTF6 finds an early kill in the duo lane, something has gone incredibly wrong for the Duck Club. Like it is just not great.
Well, it's a last chance here for JUSTF6 to keep themselves alive. Can the Duck Club close it out? Let's find out right now.
Duck Club 1 win away from moving on in the lower bracket. JUSTF6, we're trying to make a desperation play, although we haven't seen any of that in years, Aggro. All 5 members walking in to the enemy side of the jungle. No, Snoopy will stand alone over on the left, reprising the Ho Yi that lit up the world after game number 1. A different pick for Hurrywind. But you can still jump in, and you can still engage.
Yeah, but
got to be careful if you're JUSTF6.
Surely Snoopy used all of his good bounces in game 1, right?
That's how it works, right? It's like a. It's
You
like
have so many
It's a literal quiver
per day, right? And surely Snoopy used all of them in game 1, or at least that's what JUSTF6 is hoping.
Totally off on a tangent. I saw there's a video on Reddit the other day. Somebody made it as a very well done edit of what if Hawkeye missed all of his shots in like all of the Marvel movies, and so like they spliced together a bunch of like his big arrow moments, and they all just whiff and like hit totally unsuspecting people. I imagine that's what's going to be happening with Snoopy here right after the way game 1 went. We're having a sad Hawkeye moment in game number 2. How can JUSTF6 turn it around though? Because they've got. You know, they've got the Fenrir still. You've got the Thoth out of the mid lane, which has seen some success, but no success really in game 1. Where does JUSTF6 start to right this ship?
I mean, it's got to be about stabilizing in duo, first and foremost. You know, you cannot lose duo as hard as you did last game. That goes without saying. But I think that they've picked to play more around this right side of the map. I mean, I look at Fenrir jungle. I'm looking around the map. Who doesn't have beads? It's 2 people. It's Ducky and it's Hurrywind. I'm trying to go aggressive.
That's happening again. A double stun into a jump in from Snoopy, and that forces the dash away from Toddy. Shell is there for Rotwind, so that'll be a little sustainability, maybe a saving grace in a moment here in the dual lane.
So when I'm looking at my targets now, if I'm Mastkill, Hurrywind, no beads, but he's Bacchus, literally the tankiest god in the game because of his damage mitigation. That is possible, and I'm sure I'll be ulting him at some point, but I'm looking over in solo at a man without beads and no CC immunity. I think that Mastkill should be in solo lane, level 5 or 6, and just make the impact there, because that's where it looked like JUSTF6 had a ray of hope. Last game was when they started picking Ducky on that right-hand side. You've got a character who pushes leads very well in Osiris. You've got this Fenrir that can very easily set up for a kill.
Snoopy may be ganked by Mastkill. Eyes are on left. Belch is going to be out from Hurrywind here, but Luconium also in. Ricochet is good from Snoopy. And up and over he will go. Drops down onto Mastkill, who will drop for first blood. Mastkill gets first. Luconium answers back, but it's a much better trade for JUSTF6. Hurrywind looking like the last to go down. Beads get used by Mastkill there. Hurrywind on the jump out. Can Toddy close the gap? Dash in, acid spray and damage. Double kill for the Medusa.
That is huge for JUSTF6, and what a well-timed rotation over from Mastkill. Did not like Duck Club's prioritization a whole lot in that moment because, yes, we full-on commit to this Khepri. Snoopy tries to slide in to that corridor to triple bounce the Khepri. Got some great damage off, but wasn't enough to one-shot him. And then Snoopy has to jump really early. He doesn't try and save his jump for Brutalize or for Unchained. Because he's just in the midst of this little corridor, because they were all in committing onto the Khepri, Snoopy ends up taking too much damage, which means he has to use his leap, which means that Mastkill gets such an easy kill on him. and Duck Club don't collapse back. I think killing Mastkill in that position, at least forcing the jungler to go down, ends up going a lot better for you. That way, yeah, we killed Rotwin. Even if that would have been first blood, it would have been worth it for Duck Club. But because it wasn't first blood and Mastkill gets one of the 3 kills, Toddy gets the other 2, I think that's a great start for JUSTF6.
That's exactly where Duck Club pushed their advantage in game 1. And so an exact opportunity like that for JUSTF6 now. Ducky hasn't received much of that pressure yet, though you see Mastkill looming over on the right side of the map. Without those beads, though, but of course now taking over to level 5 with the Ragnarok CC immunity, Mastkill should be just fine.
I mean, this should be free on the right-hand side. I'm very surprised that he's not just diving on this tower. I mean, I don't know how Ducky really has a lot of counterplay to just jump in Ragnarok on top of him. He just doesn't have any CC immunity. You can just stand there and wait until the wave pushes out. I mean, Ducky's playing pretty cautiously as expected.
Yep.
You know, he's a veteran, but now he just gets his vision shard down. Listemix can kind of know, hey, he probably warded here at this point. Hey, he dropped his ward.
Gotta be now, right? Doesn't have Winds of Shamash. Mastkill is here, but instead will prioritize stripping away some of the farm from Luconium, who's going to rotate to the right side of his own jungle and realize that all of his camps are gone. And so now the potential to fall behind in the jungle is absolutely here. Mastkill will grab these mid camps as well. Speed buff up shortly for Luconium. And so a good start to this one for JUSTF6. Ducky in his God pool has been pretty interesting to follow this week, Aggro, in that, you know, we've seen Ama, and I'm sure if given the opportunity, Ducky would love to play some Ama. Ducky's played Odin, things like that in the past, but already kind of 2 for 2 on more unique picks out of the solo lane. Gilgamesh, don't see it all that often. Chalk, don't see it all that often. You're playing a more unique role, I'll stick with that word, Ducky out of the solo lane. And might finally get your wish here over the blue buff wall. Could jump Luconium.
Nice.
Or Mastkill, rather. Steal away on one side. But instead, just blue buff invade, Aggro. We're happy with just stealing away some of these camps.
Yeah, I mean, it's a small win, but it's a win nonetheless. And Toddy has got to be careful in that position. Snoopy doesn't end up finding it, but here comes Luconium. This whole squad's just here.
And
nice ult.
Petrifying Gaze is big. Pala, you got to get value. You need to get value here. You forced the beads and the ult out of Toddy, but you've spent the time of 4 people. I nearly looked away. So there is value. It's ultimate and beads, but the time of 4 members of Duck Club sent over towards left, and Toddy still stands on the map.
Yeah, and this wave is now in a pretty awkward position for Duck Club. Heroin and Snoopy have to try and push it out so that it crashes before Snoopy can get the opportunity to reset here in this lane. I mean, Duck Club definitely falling behind overall. Luconium now down 2 levels to Mastkill, who I think has really been not as impactful as he could be by just killing solo lane, but still being active on the map at the very least. This JUSTF6 team, they're scrappy, man. They know how to get in there and take their advantages, and right now it's working well.
Right, we've seen moments like this from this team all week long, and even last year in the SEC, Ducky won't get ganked, but he might get soloed out. Listemix pulled back into the Winds of Shamash. But Mastkill licking his lips here on the right side. We'll see if Ducky ends up falling. Has Ragnarok and Brutalize. Easy as you like. Over on the left, though, Scarab's Blessing delays the death of Rotwin. Final Judgment flies in. Moswal desperately trying to chase down one of these kills, but is he going to trade out his own life for it? The tap damage is there. And that is like desperation from Moswal to just get a kill rolling for the Duck Club.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, that's a trade that Rotwin would be happy to take any day of the week. Myself for mid laner, sure, why not? Let's do it. Just not enough damage. Luconium very, very close to having his ultimate up, but just didn't quite have it. Sotos had such a good final judgment in that position in order to keep everybody at bay. That was really well played.
Snoopy plus Hurry win. Petrifying Gaze out, but
nice
Mastkill is here. I don't want this Fenrir on my side of the map if I'm Snoopy. He's learning that the hard way. Killing spree for Mastkill. And his purple buff will not be successfully invaded. And it's the same story, but just different teams here, Aggro, where not quite as wide a gap as we got in game 1 between, you know, the 2 duo lanes. But you can really tell where the pressure is and where the advantages are here for JUSTF6.
And Duck Club hasn't given up on being aggressive on this side of the map. I mean, every fight has taken place on JUSTF6 territory, but JUSTF6 has done a much better job at being present. Now Mastkill can actually influence these fights. Toddy's on a pick that isn't as easy to punish as the Kerninos, and we've seen him be very good on it. 2-0-3 right now on this Medusa is a very good look for him. Up 2 levels up against Snoopy. And now Duck Club have got to realize that they have to take the foot off the gas for a little bit. They have to try and slow this pace down. And if you're JUSTF6, don't let them. You know, keep the pressure up. Keep ganking on these side lanes because every single time it's looking really good.
Mastkill over on right yet
There's a
again.
dive, yeah.
I mean, we're feeling bad already on the left side of the map if we're the Duck Club. Not feeling much better on the right. Ducky will dash back. Big play. Nearly turns around to kill. And the mechanics of Ducky to keep himself on the map, impressive. Under the 2 versus 1 tower dive.
Snoopy now in trouble. Rotwin gonna abduct him. That forces the beads, and Snoopy should have an avenue out, but Sodos has to use his beads as well. Snoopy trying to turn it around in this 2v1. Won't be able to. I don't know. Did Mastkill cancel his brutalize? Ducky should have died.
I thought so too.
In that situation, but
maybe
maybe
anyway.
Still will.
There you go. The brutalize will help out Lastimics this time, and Ducky ends up falling. And again, it's an attempted rotation to the left side of the map from Duck Club. No kills, but this is actually a pretty big get if Duck Club are able to knock down this Gold Fury and get it. Final judgment out of the mid lane is there. Charged up, sent through, not in time. Duck Club secure the Gold Fury, and that is a big, big win.
Absolutely massive for Duck Club to just get something going back in their favor because they are losing so much neutral farm on the map right now. Here's a look back at Ducky's surviving the first dive. And Mastkill shouldn't be getting knocked up by this Winds of Shamash. Ducky's really played the edge of this ultimate really well. There's a well-timed jump, brutalize. Yeah, I don't know if he canceled it or, you know, I'm pretty sure Fenrir's knocked back immune. I don't know if that's an interaction that Ducky knows about or if Mastkill canceled it or what.
Calculated.
But yeah, either way, it didn't end up mattering too much because Ducky still ended up dying just a few minutes later. But this right side of the map is just barren. If you're Duck Club. Ducky has already lost his tower, so has Moswal. You've lost your mid tier 1 and your solo tier 1 less than 10 minutes into the game. And these are not particularly safe characters.
No.
Moswal, again, is probably just toast.
Might have to use his beads, does. Can send his ultimate flying. Can Duck Club rally around their mid laner? No, not in time. Mastkill's already gotten that one. Sodos will get pulled back in. Luconium needs to have enough damage to at least finish off a solo kill here, but the shell is huge, and Sodos will walk away, gets ticked down by the damage from Snoopy. Could be a saving grace here, but Toddy is around the back of the fight, and Toddy is making plays, killing spree for the Medusa. We stand at a 3-for-1, and it is a brawl up against the wall. The Belches on out, slither away, and now Rotwin and Mastkill will rejoin the fight. Hurrywind, I'm not sure he's got enough damage.
Doing what he can on the Bacchus. He shuts down Mastkill, and he may actually kill Rotwin here as well. Does Rotwin have enough mana for the abduct? He does, but belly flop's coming up.
Hurrywind on the chase. Slight healing rolling through as well. Hurry wants it. Hurry needs it. Duck Club, they need it, but he doesn't have the damage on the belly flop.
What is
Hurrywind
happening?
can't die for this. Toddy dashes
can.
in, belches on the end, and he does die for this. Toddy grabs his 4th.
But now comes Luconium. He should have Toddy here. This is big.
It's a teleport coming in as well. We'll get a kill on the Toddy. My goodness, take a deep breath. That's a 45-second team fight. Like 5 members of Duck Club die. All right, here's your trend. This helps. A little downward tick. I guess in theory, a good fight for the Duck Club.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see why not. They got a good kill on the Sodos. Hurwin shut down Mastkill. He got a lot of gold and experience for it. And Bacchus is the type of support that can do a lot with gold. You know, he's not. Kepri, I don't think, is doing that much with his gold outside of course, upgrading his relics. But Bacchus, you know, getting something like Pridwin adds a lot of survivability, and that damage is not negligible. Plus, just upgrading those relics is so important right now.
We've seen this interaction a whole lot. That's well played by Snoopy. Ragnarok looks like it. Well, one time out. Snoopy does have to use his beads, but he's hitting everything. Hurrywind's in range for the assist, but that is all Snoopy all day. And that is worrying if you're JUSTF6. That's a vacuum 1v1, so take it for what it is. But Snoopy, at level 12, still able to turn that around. And in mid lane, looks like JUSTF6 might be able to find a play on Luconium.
Sodos has to use the beads. Moswal's ultimate is up, but can't really commit with Rotwin right there. Luconium does get enough off in order to survive and gets the beads from Sodos. All of a sudden, momentum starting to go back in Duck Club's favor. And you mentioned it, man. I mean, I just think there's no worse play in that situation. Mastkill's been playing so well all tournament. I've been so impressed with the way that he's played. But sometimes, you know, these players still show you that they got stuff to learn. And going to the player that has the most playmaking potential on the enemy team, you know, Snoopy is the guy that has the most playmaking potential in my estimation. And letting him just get that confidence back, you know, letting him outplay you, and then knowing that now Snoopy's feeling himself again.
Right.
That is not where I would have gone. Sometimes just making sure that he's tucked away in the dark corner is the better play.
Net worth still pretty split. Really, both teams on either half. Snoopy's starting to feel himself a little bit. Petrifying Gaze out. A gets used by Toddy, but if you're going to send this many people, you're going to get the kill onto Toddy. And so it has been a rough couple of minutes for Toddy, who has had Snoopy get a kill handed over to him by Mastkill, and then gets a couple members of Duck Club sent over in his direction. Now he's got to watch for 30 seconds. And Duck Club starting to wrangle a little bit of control, but you can't be doing this. You can't hand it right back. Then hi-rez gets picked.
Yeah, big mistake there by hi-rez. Khepri always thought of as the support, you know, always peeling, but he's one of the best at killing frontline.
Ragnarok onto Ducky. Dropkick gets a stun, but in the back, Soto's just weaving out that damage. Rotwin's the one who ends up picking up the kill. But JUSTF6 kind of get punched in the mouth with a pick on Toddy and then counter punch right back.
And it's perfect timing for JUSTF6 because Primal Fury's up. I mean, those are two of your veteran players, and Ducky and hi-rez, and those are horrible mistakes to make at that position. I mean, you just cannot have your front line int away your opportunity to come back in this game for a flower and a wave on the left-hand side. I mean, just a horrible series of decisions by Duck Club. And just when you thought that JUSTF6 was starting to lose their grasp on this game, that the two vets on Duck Club kind of give it right back.
14-7 in the kill department, just shy of 5,000 gold, as Doug has showed us just a moment ago. Pyromancer not up on the map for Duck Club to answer back with, but there is a Fire Giant. That's where things could start to change, Aggro. I mean, you've got the final judgment for secure potential. Snoopy can drop his ultimate there as well. You talk about playmaking potential. Feels like it's Snoopy who's maybe going to have to get things going again. This is an awkward fight. Not nearly enough numbers here if you're Duck Club. This is a 5 versus 3. Snoopy's on one side. Ducky still rotating over. The Palau, fantastic. Burns some CC immunity, but Luconium drops down all on his own. And now JUSTF6 have an opening. It looks like the call might be right back towards Fire.
Yeah, I mean, Snoopy's on this left-hand side. He's not going to be able to get here, so now it's up to Duck Club trying to keep them at bay, but Listemics with a solid zone. Got to keep Moswal out. He's got Blink and could cause a lot of problems.
Ducky close by as well. hi-rez pulled into the Fire Giant pit, and Toddy's the one who grabs the kill. Ducky searching for a target, and he will come up empty-handed. It's Moswal alone in the back, and Snoopy's just going to hang out on left and push down this tower. That is about all he can do right now. Moswal will get chopped away by Listemics here eventually. You would assume. There he goes, and it's Fire Giant on all 5 members of JUSTF6. We are on the precipice of going to a knockout game 3.
Unbelievable performance by JUSTF6, man. I mean, Mastkill is just playing out of his mind. Listemics is absolutely crushing Ducky, and Rotwin is just playing so well on this Khepri. I mean, he has been everywhere for this team. Not necessarily with these Scarab's Blessing revives, but with the setup.
Looks like you might be without Snoopy now for a little bit longer as well. Listemics over from right. Is there damage? Yes, but is there an Aegis? Also yes. Listemics on a killing spree, and Snoopy MIA for 45 seconds. And 45 seconds, long time when the Fire Giant still got 3 minutes or so of buff on it. JUSTF6 can take a deep breath, 1,500 gold at least to spend, and a lot of towers to knock down.
Still like that play from Snoopy a lot, though, because he gets both relics from Sotos on a god that needs relics desperately, especially up against Blink Zhonghui and Da Ji. I mean, that is really key. But it was also very smart from Sotos in that moment. He doesn't walk out of Listemics range, because what really matters there is that Snoopy's tethered by Listemics, so he's doing like 30% less damage at this point in the game. It's a massive damage reduction if you're tethered. So he makes sure that he doesn't go so far away from Listemics that when Snoopy all-in commits onto him, he's still going to have that tether on him. So well played by JUSTF6. I think that, you know, Sotos, that does potentially slow down what they want to do on the siege by losing those relics, because Luconium has been really unable to put pressure on this backliner throughout the vast majority of the game. Now maybe he can.
JUSTF6 is rolling here in this game. You've got an undying solo laner who's 3 levels ahead. I'm very intrigued to see how long it takes to kill Systemics here.
They can.
If they can.
They
That's
can.
level 19 Osiris. They got the ultimate. Fantastic. Osiris has to ult away. That is a lot of pressure from Duck Club, a lot of investment just to force the ultimate out of Systemics. That gives you a good idea of what we're expecting under this next Phoenix Siege.
I mean, JUSTF6, in the moment where Duck Club looked like they were coming back, it was because JUSTF6 wasn't doing a very good job of grouping and staying together and went for a couple of individual plays. They're pretty spread out right now, and that had me a little bit nervous, but they are so far ahead that it's very difficult for Duck Club to really punish them. I mean, they're up 12K in 18 minutes. That's obscene.
And remember, this is JUSTF6 who has had, you know, a checkered past of success, some good, some bad, middle of the pack SEC team, but they showed these types of moments. And if they can hit their stride in Game 2 and finish out Game 2 and continue this into Game 3, they could make some waves. They've already made some waves this week. Could continue to make waves. And really, Duck Club, one of the top 3 or 4 favorites in moving on to the SPL. This would be massive for the confidence of JUSTF6 and their potential future if they're able to get a Game 2 and then a Game 3 win over the Duck Club. Hurrywin sends out his belch. Right side Phoenix defense is what we're looking at. Soto's far behind the rest of this team.
Nice
Hurry
kick.
drops his ultimate. Good. Double stun. Right into the Suns, but doesn't get much.
But look at how slow JUSTF6 have to play this, because Isoto's Relics just came back. Now they can play much more aggressive.
They can walk a little bit further forward. Systemics takes a little damage, but the tankiest guy in the
say
game
so.
is not looking all that tanky right now. It's a Ragnarok onto Hurrywin. Intoxicate is good, but that is all Hurrywin is able to do. The carries and Ducky both all playing behind the Phoenix. It's a good ultimate from Luconium, but the right side Phoenix ends up going down.
It is the right side Phoenix, so not that bad for Duck Club as long as that's the only one they lose, but I'm not sure that's the only one they're losing.
Snoopy, can you make a play? He does nearly no damage to Toddy and has to go over the wall. Brutalize will follow him
Toast.
there. Aegis will time out, and Snoopy dies. Luconium's still on the map, though. He's chopping away the damage onto Toddy, who has to dash away. Scarab's Blessing times out. Ducky not able to get the kill, and Toddy's got the damage. Mastkill with the double. It is Moswal and Hurrywin against the world.
And I don't think that's going to be enough. But JUSTF6 don't have a lot of waves. They've got one coming from the right-hand side right now. Mastkill didn't get the memo that we were backing up, and I think with those two, maybe it will be enough so that JUSTF6 don't go for the end. I think they probably could have ended there, Dave, if they were just patient, backed up, waited for, pushed their right wave, pushed their mid wave, and then gone in. At this point, with still 10 plus on everyone on Duck Club, they probably had enough, especially with Sotos having ultimate. But, I suppose if it doesn't go well, then maybe Duck Club can go fire, and then all of a sudden the game gets messy. JUSTF6 are in a heavily favored position, and they decide to play their cards a little bit closer to the chest.
Hurrywin is at a spot now where we saw moments, yesterday with supports who want to play this jump-in play style and are just way too far behind. Hurry is level 13 at 21 minutes.
Can't do anything.
Seems like, you got Pridwin, and we saw a decent Intoxicate in that last fight. That might be all Hurrywin can do. Hurrywin is just going to have to get off his abilities, hope he can find a stun, hope he can find a knockup, and the Intoxicate might be there on the other end. I just don't think there's a world where Hurry can find much of an impact outside of that. Duck Club agree. Fire Giant's going to get taken here, and Titan defense is maybe the last hope.
Yeah, I mean, you've got, again, the AoE here for Duck Club. Ho Yi ult, Zhang Kui ult, Gilgamesh ult. These are big team fight covering abilities, but JUSTF6, I mean, they've just got brute strength right now. They can just beat you with their wallets because they're at full items. I mean, Sotos has temporal beads now on the upgrade. JUSTF6 have everything they could need. Duck Club is still waiting for some pretty key items to happen. I mean, Snoopy doesn't have any % pen except for after he crits with that Wind Demon, but that's his only crit, so he's not critting that often. Certainly not looking good for Duck Club here in Game 2.
I'll be able to clear out some waves, maybe close to getting some of those items. Okay, power spike for Moswal. Its Obsidian Shard is completed. And so as you walk in on this Zhang Kui, I'm not sure this is a team in a lead that you want to be walking into, but it's those small moments that can make a difference. You and I have been caught off guard by a Zhang Kui Titan defense once, I believe, where surely it's game over.
Yeah.
And then it's not. So anything can happen, but JUSTF6, I think, have earned the benefit of the doubt that they're playing consistent enough Smite right now, and despite being in the losers bracket, that a moment like this is going to be hard to let slip through their fingers. When Lystemix as far ahead as he is as well, who somehow heals through a drop kick from Ducky. He's got extra health. Duck Club got to make something happen, and Snoopy losing all of his HP to poke damage is not it. Double kill for Snowdos on the final judgment. JUSTF6 rout Duck Club in 23 minutes. We will head to a game 3, and it will be a winner-take-all, a knockout, a go-home game 3.
Man, this duo lane has been so volatile so far this set. I mean, this duo lane this time around for JUSTF6 got a much better start, and they were able to really control the pace. But it really felt to me like the right side of the map is where a lot of the game-winning pressure was coming from. It was Lystemix on this Osiris and Mastkill on this Fenrir. That right side of the map just really outplaying Ducky and Luconium in this game. And really that has, game 1, it did not matter what Ducky, Luconium, Moswal were really doing that much because Snoopy and Hurry were so far ahead that they could just control the pace of that game. Now going into game 3, if this coin flip duo lane is going to continue, you have to be able to have a secondary win condition.
Right.
The Zhong did not work out super well for Moswal. I know that's a pick that he loves, but it just did not look particularly good. That game, in this Gilgamesh, what we saw in game 1 from Ducky as well on that chalk, we know that he can have these big pop-off games, and I think really Duck Club needs one here in game 3.
Oh, they need one. Momentum is all with JUSTF6 right now. Mastkill is playing a scary, scary brand of Smite, if you ask me. On to game 3 we go. Winner take all coming up next.
Another round will bring you down. Another round won't save you now. Another round will bring you down. Another round won't save you now. The pain will make you cry. The pain will make me smile. The pain will make you cry. The pain will make you cry. The pain will make me smile. The pain will make you cry. The pain will make you cry. The pain will make you cry. The pain will make you cry.
Well, game number 2 is over, and with the win here out of JUSTF6, that means we're going to game number 3. And one of the things, Mifflin, that we were kind of asking for Sotos here in game number 2 was to have a little bit more impact. And I think he heard your call here. Him and the dual lane can really step up big here for JUSTF6 and help lead their team to a nice win.
Yeah, I'm gonna start calling Sotos coconut hands because he like hits hard. Like his hands are made of coconuts. You know what I mean?
Sure,
Like that's a reference to something, guys. I'm pretty sure it is. Sotos did a lot of damage.
he did do a lot of damage, but so did that dual lane. They were able to keep this Hoyi at bay. They were able to keep Snoopy down. And it's kind of one of the things that you were also kind of calling about earlier was if something's going wrong in your dual lane early when you're going up against the Khepri Medusa, it's probably going wrong. And kind of did go a little bit wrong there.
Yeah, just a lot of early rotations, man. Mastkill got involved, what was it, level 3 the first time he showed up in the dual lane, and he didn't leave after that. Yep, level 3, and everybody else is level 2 because that's the jungler's path. Look, when your Fenrir is allowed to kind of free cast in the back line, it just feels like it was a little bit of a miscommunication there from the Duck Club. Somebody should have probably been peeling out for Snoopy, but it allowed Mastkill to essentially find a 1v1 up against Snoopy, rotate back in, find another 1v1, and then continue to do so. And JUSTF6 is a squad that, similarly to Duck Club, if they are able to establish a lead, will not let go of it. This is actually a pretty funny play that I really enjoyed watching. Moswal dives super, super deep. He got the kill. I mean, we didn't get to see it there, but Khepri does die. But maybe not a great trade.
I think one kind of turning point here was this play where Hurrywin dives so deep and chases a kill so far that he ends up dying himself right after. Toddy making a nice little heads-up play to come help out his teammate. He'll eat the stun at the end of that. But that fight went on for so long. I mean, it happened all the way over at the top side of the mid-camps and then chased its way all the way up through the jungle, over the Gold Fury pit, and then all the way back down to where we saw that last little kill there. But here's the man right here, Sotos, a 12 KDA, 19,000 damage, and
seriously?
Did that just say 1794 on that last snipe?
Well, I saw the 17, you know, and I checked out after that. I was like, that's too much damage. You know, I want to talk about that Hurrywin dive, actually, for a moment. It's not often that Khepri passive saves your life. It has that pulsing health shield. It saved his life there. He actually got the passive right before Hurrywin landed. Had it not happened, the auto attack would have killed him, but not the case.
I mean, there were a couple of moments where that shield popped in during that fight to keep them just a little bit alive. 8-2 and 11 for Mastkill, 9-2-8 there for Toddy. And Sotos, I mean, insane plays throughout the game, insane damage, top of the charts, and nobody really even close to him on the opposite side here for Duck Club. Moswal wasn't able to nearly the level of impact that he had on that Zeus in game number 1, even seeing some of those chase kills going so far back into the back camps there, ended up costing his life. Sure, he trades out, but he trades out for a support.
Yeah, and you know what? The pacing of Game 2 really was reminiscent of the pacing of Game 1. This seems like a couple of a set rather, where both of these teams are going to be very, very momentum-based. It's all about establishing that early pressure. It's all about getting your footing and then making sure that the other team isn't able to reestablish their own. If that's going to be the strategy, we've seen 2 games now where I would say that the game was essentially won in the first 10 minutes we could be looking at the exact same thing here in Game 3.
And got to imagine a lot of the bans and picks are going to be centered around that duo lane first and foremost here. We do see the first 2 bans, one being Horus, and there's really a lot of respect thrown towards this Horus, keeping this one banned away from Rotwin. But they'll tag the Khepri in there too on the side of the Duck Club, where JUSTF6 will focus on some of the more problematic gods in general, and even a problematic god that Hurrywin really gave them a lot of trouble for. Amaterasu and Serket banned away, and then the Osiris on the side of Duck Club. And lastly, to round out the bans, JUSTF6 are actually going to take this Fenrir completely away.
You know, the most surprising thing I think is this Khepri ban, right? That's a lot of respect in that first pick slot to go towards this, especially considering we've been seeing a very heavy emphasis on pressure all week. Khepri not necessarily one that I would associate with that style, but maybe in doing so, they allow themselves to pick up exactly this, a super strong, very meta selection in Bastet that has good flex potential. It could be going solo with that full damage Nika style of play, or it could be going into the jungle and just dominate from there as well. It's a great beads burner. I'm surprised that Bastet legitimately made her way through.
But with the Bastet going through, JUSTF6 have left open the 2 carries that were able to get them so much in the last game, Medusa and Thoth. The Medusa locked in for now, the Thoth being hovered and will be locked in on the side of JUSTF6. So they want to get 2 of their core damage dealers that gave them success there in game number 2, give them a strong boxer as far as the lane is concerned in Medusa, and then that very long-range artillery-style mage in Thoth, making sure to keep themselves alive. But there's a lot still open on the table. The dual lane outside of this Medusa pick hasn't even looked at just yet, but Mifflin, that's where a lot of the pressure has been going.
Yeah, but there's so many supports still available. You've got the traditional Guardians, just about every single one, barring Khepri, still out there. We could be seeing maybe some Warrior supports come through. We know that Hurrywin in particular is one to go towards things like the Hercules on the other side. So I think we could be in a spot where JUSTF6 can wait out on their support selection and get it in that bottom 2, because we've already kind of lost out on those picks that we really think are going to be contentious, right? Fenrir and Serket.
Chiron locked in for Duck Club, and I'm curious as to where, if this is going to go in the mid lane or over in the dual lane. We'll have to wait to see the rest of the draft to maybe get a better answer on that.
Let's go.
But the only team that has locked in this god so far has the 1-game win, and the 1 game only will now make it second time pick through here. Atlas for the Duck Club once again. And it's something that we kind of talked about before we jumped in here, how you and I were both real surprised at the start of the week. We both thought that this god was going to be one of the most heavily prioritized guardians in the game, support gods in the game. We been seeing a very heavy lack of this god outside of this Duck Club team.
Yeah, Atlas was weak on release, and we're not on release anymore.
No.
We're playing on bonus balance, okay? This god has gotten a lot of buffs over the last couple of months. He's got a lot more damage now. CC was never lacking and remains unlacking for him. Phenomenal defense shred with the ultimate, semi-global as well, so you can have your presence known just about everywhere on the map because it's a massive global ultimate. I think that Atlas is severely undervalued right now. But looking at the composition that JUSTF6 have got already, I'm not sure that Atlas is going to have a very easy time applying his CC. Thoth has a very quick omnidirectional dash. Medusa with the Lacerate can probably reposition out of that pickup as well very easily. So you're going to have to play really heads up around this Guardian selection for Duck Club. I think it's going to be a lot of just getting aggressive and kind of controlling space for him. It's more so the threat of being picked up than it is legitimately displacing somebody.
And one of the buffs that Atlas did get was the ability to be knockback immune while channeling that ability to pick people up himself. But Ardio's not going to have to worry about that. She can always throw a stun, and that can interrupt that and give her some time to kind of get a little bit of gap closure out here. But as the bans roll through, Ares and Umoja, another god who even some of the players out in the break room have been kind of talking about a very heavy lack of out here. We have been seeing very little Umoja out in this tournament so far, even despite the amazing strength that she had all throughout Season 8. And then Cerberus and Zeus, one more time banned away, still making sure that Moswal doesn't get that key pick.
Yeah, I think Umoja just fell off because of Phantom Shell. I mean, I've been saying it all week, but we've been seeing a lot of Odin as well, which kind of invalidates my opinion on this. But when you used to go towards Phantom, it doesn't feel super great, right? Because you're sacrificing one of your defensive relics. You're losing out on either a health shield, or maybe back in Season 8, you're losing out on like a meditation or something along those lines. Now, you can walk through walls, and you get a health shield, and you get damage mitigation, which feels really, really good. It really slows down the playstyle that Yamoja brings, and she doesn't necessarily have that same level of pressure, output / space control that something like an Odin has, which might be part of the reason why we don't see her nearly as much.
A little bit of double counterplay kind of against each other here as far as supports are concerned. Atlas and Bacchus versus each other up here in the duo lane of JUSTF6.
Glory to Athens.
And then Athena gets locked in here. And now my eyebrows are really raised as to where this Athena is going to be going, as to maybe even where this Atlas and this Bastet are going to be going, because we have, I've seen, now we haven't seen it competitively obviously, but I have seen Lights of Atlas solo. We've seen Athena solo, jungle, and support in the past. We've now seen this full damage Bastet in solo lane and obviously in jungle as well. And then Merlin locked in just kind of confirms that Chiron's going to the duo lane. So Mifflin, if you're looking at Duck Club's draft here, where do we think that this kind of Atlas, Athena, Bastet combo's going?
Look, man, don't ask me what I think. Ask me what I know.
What do you
Here's
kn-
the thing about how
okay,
my
so
lightsaber
where do you
is
know
red,
that they're going?
and I am a Sith Lord. I'm going to
are you
speak in
now?
absolutes. This Atlas is absolutely going to the support role. This Merlin is absolutely going into mid.
Okay,
we
I
got
had
the confetti falling down.
I had no question on the
Bastet's
Merlin.
in the jungle. Okay, hey, let me finish. Chiron is going into the long lane, and then you've only got 2 bits of flex, right? Like maybe Athena could go into the jungle, maybe she could go in the soul lane. I think she's going in the soul lane. I know it, actually. I don't think I know.
So you know that this Athena will be going solo, Bastet jungle, and then Atlas over in the duo lane.
Dude, I can actually
to-
see Aggro and Dave praying on my downfall right now.
They are waiting. They are just absolutely waiting
You
for
guys
the
are
moment where it
animals.
could just jump right back at you. Final pick locked in here for JUSTF6. One of Mastkill's signature picks, actually, will be this Susano to kind of fight up against it. And how do you feel about Susano into this composition specifically, Mifflin?
I think that you've got pretty good tools to deal with some of the escapes on the side of Duck Club. Chiron, you can pull him out of his dash away, the giddy up. Atlas, pretty easy to deal with him as well. If you're really quick on it, you can kind of react to the dash from Athena and stop her for going that for the instant taunt with the pull on Susano. So I do really think that he fits the style, and it's going to create a lot of space for Thoth. It's going to create a lot of space for these carries, and it's going to have a lot of 1v1 potential up against things like Merlin. Like Flicker is a decent escape. It's going to get you over tiny walls, but it doesn't go very far. So if Susano's already closed gap on you, I don't think you're escaping out of that one.
And then you're looking, the Susano you talked about versus the Bastet and the Chiron. Kind of how do you feel that this, this Bacchus Ardio is your main front line out here, kind of feel going up against this super heavy front line of this Atlas Athena? What do you think, kind of that back and forth is?
It's super unfun to play against Athena, okay? Because it's just dash
Yeah.
taunt, dash taunt, dash taunt. Now, I think we might even see this Athena go for something like the Breastplate of Determination, which is going to give you a whole lot of CDR to allow you to dash taunt, dash taunt, dash taunt. So the front line of JUSTF6 really has to create space. They need to make sure that they can't really necessarily stop the Athena herself from doing what she wants to do. It's making sure that she doesn't have the follow-up behind her. So you have to hope that this Ardio and Bacchus can get in towards this Chiron, get in towards this Merlin, and just keep them away and hope that their own backline is able to match the DPS or at least do a little bit more. And I think they've got that capability. But there is an interesting matchup here in that Thoth kind of plays on the fringe front line, right? Like, because he wants to get forward enough to apply damage from a range. That puts him in position to be gone on by Athena, which is very hard to play around.
One of the things we've been seeing a lot of as far as the solo lane is concerned has been this heavy rise in the persistent teleport meta. You pick up that tier 1 teleport, you back to base as soon as you can kind of finish up that first item and finish up that full teleport. Do you think that we see this Athena go to kind of get this double global style to really try and match and really keep pressure on the map?
God, I hope not, man. That seems like super annoying. I mean, I hope not in that I would hate to play against that.
Right.
I just don't want to see it personally, because if I see it here, that means I'll see it in my casuals as well. But it is...
Casuals has already gone beyond this point.
Yeah, I suppose
We had
so.
Sylvanas mid day 1. You expected
Oh, well,
casuals to be
that's
normal
fine.
at this point?
I'm not going to complain about a Leon pick. Yeah, I think Athena can go teleport pretty easily here because she doesn't necessarily need to go for some of these other relics for her own safety. But it feels like you're kind of like double dipping, right? Like, I don't think she necessarily needs it. You might find more value from something like an entangling sprint or maybe a horrific emblem or something along those lines.
That's an item we actually haven't seen just yet, has been that horrific emblem. I don't
We've
think...
seen it once. We saw the miasma one.
No, that's not with emblem. That's with
Oh, that's
Ankh.
Ankh.
That's
Oh,
with the Ankh.
God.
No, we have not. I don't think we have seen the emblem
God.
quite yet. We have seen the Sunder. It took a while, but we did see the Sunder earlier today. That was with a Nox pick. So maybe we do get a chance to see the horrific emblem out here. But, I mean, so many new Tier 3 relics out here.
Dude, there's so many.
It's crazy. I mean, just the frenzies alone is something that we've been seeing a massive rise in.
Talking about the belt of insatiable hunger.
No, we've been seeing more of the belt of the Berserker.
Yeah, these guys are ridiculous, bro.
It's
It's
ridiculous.
called insatiable hunger. You got to be building that.
You need to make sure that you pick up something here because both these
Athena
teams need to
Solo.
win or else their tournament life is over. Let's find out who is going home.
Is the Mifflin guarantee worth a damn? Yes, it is. All right, Ducky gets
Unlucky.
Athena solo, Hurrywind, Atlas in support. Luconium will be on Bastet out of the jungle. And aggro, I want to start off right there with
Sure.
Bastet out of the jungle. Because, you know, I've seen, and Nika's out in the lobby. I'm sure he's listening to me talk about this.
Yeah.
We've been picking Bastet solo and then just building it like a jungle. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, you know, maybe it just makes sense to go ahead and slap her in jungle and play her there, and then you still get someone tanky out of solo.
Yeah, why not? I mean, you still have plenty of damage. You still have that utility of the ultimate. I mean, Bastet is worth picking and having on your team regardless of where it is, if it's in jungle or in solo. So
You don't think you're sacrificing anything, putting like a tankier, bruisier player in jungle instead of all that damage in there to gank and stuff?
Not necessarily,
Sure.
no. I think that, you know, when they were doing it with like Kabrakan for Fred, that's a burst jungler that just
That's true.
happens to be a little bit tanky. So as long as you've got some CC to help set you up, I think that is somewhat important unless your name's like Lucas Bracklin and you can just freehand every Bastet ult no matter
Right.
what. You still got it here with this Athena. You still got it with the Atlas. I think the composition here for Duck Club is pretty good.
You think Scream's sitting at home, like watching all this Bastet get
Yes.
played this weekend, like
I'm the best.
itching,
I'm the
right.
GOAT. Yeah, I think
he's
Scream
like,
wakes up.
just Twittered, I
Yeah.
swear I'm better.
Scream wakes up and thinks, man, I am so much better at Bastet than everyone.
Right.
Or like any god that he has ever once played.
Right, and then Nika gets a penta, and he's like slamming the table because he's
Yeah.
not here getting a penta.
Well,
right.
it's like, yeah, Nika's pretty good. He's just not as good as me. That's exactly what happens in his brain, I promise.
Right, he would have killed the sixth guy on the respawn somehow.
Yeah, exactly.
What's one beyond penta?
Penta.
No, right, but like in actual math. It's like
Hexa.
Hexakill.
Yeah, I think that's a hexakill.
First ever recorded hexakill. You heard it here first. Scream on Bastet. Pressure starting to mount in a game like this, JUSTF6 up against the Duck Club. Remember, I mean, to recontextualize all of this, we're in the losers bracket. This is it. One more game, and either you are moving on, continued chance to join the SPL, or you are going home. And your hopes of joining the SPL here in Season 9 are over. And I think we've seen almost exact games from exact same games from both of these teams. Game one, amazing from Duck Club, looked near unstoppable. JUSTF6 had that style of game in game number two. Which team are we going to get which of here in game three? You know, I guess technically JUSTF6 rolling with the momentum after a ridiculous win there in game two.
You know, if I'm in JUSTF6's shoes, if I'm in any team going forward against Duck Club in their position, I'm just making someone not named Snoopy beat me.
Right.
Because Snoopy has been the guy basically every single time. And when you force Moswal, Ducky, Luconium to be the primary carries of this team, they have not delivered quite yet. So that would be my mentality going up against the squad.
A sly two-level lead for the duo lane of the Duck Club, and now Rotwin is on the wrong side of things. Toddy is the target right now, and they're all in on Toddy. Gotta be a kill, and it is. Snoopy grabs first blood, the back will be channeled, and out goes Rotwin. But the timing, we've seen this strategy, aggro, a bunch this week in this level 2. You start Frenzy, you pop it on the first wave, and then you engage at level 2.
Yeah, not a great start now for JUSTF6 because it's exactly what I said you can't do, which is give this dual lane a lead. I mean, that's pretty basic stuff to me, Dave. Rotwin has got to just start hitting minions to get Toddy level 2 so that he can dash away. Or Toddy could beads the knockback. Rotwin could just make sure that he's not in range to get Atlas 2'd. I mean, there's a lot of things that JUSTF6 could have done in that position. Really did not like the way they played that wave whatsoever. And why not do it again?
Right, why not do it again? It gives Hurrywin the ability to walk forward. You're still level 2, and they're still level 1 in the duo lane of JUSTF6. Snoopy does take a heap of damage on the return, but it's a level 3 to level 1. Surely this wave gets you to level 2. But
Yes.
a 2-level deficit.
They're like one creep off from 2.
Yes, felt bad. That entire laning phase, you could return to some aspect of power with a kill on
Luconium.
Moswal, who flickers away. Pull back in onto Luconium. And Luconium will sidestep some damage as well, immediately running back towards Hurrywind. And Sotos is going to give up on this one. It's a pullback in from Hurry, but there's no damage because Luconium has had to leave, and Hurrywin just wreaking havoc here in the mid.
Yeah, this Atlas has looked good so far, hasn't it? I mean, it's gotten wave domination. It's been very aggressive for Hurrywin, just like it has every other time he's played it. Constantly, you know, going in with that dash, and Moswal walking that tightrope was able to survive. Luconium did as well. If I'm like Snoopy, I'm going fellas. Let me just do it. You know, I've got a lead. Let me just play around this lead. Don't fall behind elsewhere on the map.
Nice steal. Hurrywin gets the red buff. Belch gets the stun, though. Sodas has already used his root, so Hurrywin with a dash would get out. Last bit of mana used. Will Rotwin dive in? Will he belly flop under a tier 1 tower for the kill? No, I'd think twice about it. And Rotwin does as well. We have left the Hunters alone in dual lane at level 4 and level 3 respectively, and Toddy is winning the engage. The minions might just finish off Snoopy, but it's not to be. Toddy is marked down, so Snoopy has some backloaded damage in this fight. That's a 1 versus 1. Both Hunters stay alive.
Uh-oh, Toddy's got a juke. Snoopy might have masterful shot, decides that he will not have the damage that he thought he might.
Rotwin's here, though. All right, no belly flop in. We can breathe easy just for a moment. I guess I like to play there from Snoopy. You know, if you hit the ultimates, you might turn around to kill there. You extend your lead out to 2. Might have been just shy of the damage, but still just looking to see what he could get.
I think he hit the first one and was like, oh, that did way less damage than I thought it would. And then instantly started hitting the wave. You know, he would have needed to hit all 3 plus a masterful shot to get close.
I can hear Snoopy. Whoa, like right, one of those.
Oh no, I don't have that kind of damage yet. You know, he's sitting on trans 2.
Right.
You know, wasting the ultimate there doesn't feel great because right now I think you'd have a lot of kill pressure if he had it.
Level 3 for both of these supports. This Hurrywin has been on a journey across the map, over to mid, back towards left. Rejoins his carry. This is going to be a threat to Moswal all game long. Mastkill, the playmaking potential was there on a Fenrir, and it is definitely there on a Susano. And if that what are we calling it? Oh my God! Oh, like tornado thing connects onto Moswal. He can follow the teleport in. I don't know why tornado. Oh my God!
What is happening, Dave? Are you good?
If the teleport connects onto Moswal.
Like that?
Like that. That's a good teleport. Should be a kill on a Rot when it is. I'm spiraling so hard I miss a kill. As Hurrywin sends his ult towards Mastkill.
It's called jet stream, Dave. It's called
right,
jet
but
stream.
I like to describe it, you know, for us folks out there who don't, I don't know what a jet stream is, right? It's like a little tornado thing that connects on you. As teleport was the next
storm
word.
Cloud.
Right, storm cloud is a better word. It's teleport is
Yeah.
what my point is.
What's your point, Dave?
That Flicker is great at getting short distances, but Mastkill is going to be a continued threat to Moswal as this game goes on.
Oh yeah, you should have said that. I'd agree with that.
But instead, I forgot what the word tornado was. And
Yeah.
It's not even a tornado.
No, the ultimate's a tornado, and that's where you
No,
lost
that's a
me.
typhoon.
Okay, I guess.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Me trying to save you. Yeah, the ultimate's a tornado. That's how it was.
Typhoon, baby, come on. Oh, it's technically a hurricane. I'm doubling down just to save some face here, and I think I'm doing the exact opposite.
I'm trying to help.
Yeah, but I'm telling you that Masskill's going to be a threat to Moswal. Boom. End of sentence.
Moswal's up a level right now on
And we're not
Sotos.
going to talk about it. He's going to be a threat to Moswal?
We've talked about it for the last 2 minutes, Dave. I can't talk about it anymore, man.
All right, my fault.
Yeah, he is. He's going to be a threat, but Moswal's nice and farmed. He's already got his Divine Ruin. This is what the meta is right now. Is just it's a DPS race between mids and junglers. These flat pen items on both sides are really, really good. And a lot of junglers are saying the mids are winning that race, and that's why you get the jungler tiers all over Twitter and all that kind of stuff. But Susano's got the damage output in order to win that race a lot of the time. So it's definitely a 1v1 to keep your eye on.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm a prophet. I bring
Yeah, that was
you
really
into
good.
it. Now Sotos is under pressure from Luconium. Cat no good. Everyone does have a little damage here. And Luconium dives
Dead.
back the other way. Sotos at least grabs a return kill. JUSTF6 on the board for the first time. It's Thoth picking it up.
I think Curry could have stepped in and tanked initially there off of his ultimate in order to allow Luconium to get that dive off without pulling tower aggro. I mean, getting the 1-for-1 there isn't horrible, but just because Luconium has consistently fell behind in farm each of these games, having him on the respawn timer makes me a bit nervous anytime.
It's going to be a 3 versus 2 around the purple buff. Mastkill lands the Storm Cloud onto Hurrywin, follows it in, and it's Rotwind who picks up the kill. Typhoon on the other end. That'll force
Good
Snoopy
beads.
to dash on away. Luconium following up on the other end of the jungle, but Mastkill already now transferring some impact to the left side of the map. 1 level lead in the jungle.
Yeah, Ducky had the ultimate and has had the ultimate. We have not seen a defender of Olympus yet, and you know, he doesn't have a lot of CDR. Feel like the breastplate should be coming next. That's usually the typical build on Athena solo, is to rush as much CDR as possible so that you can impact the map. Has the upgraded teleport already, so I think that you should kind of be letting these ultimates go pretty fast and loose, just trying to get as much value as you can.
Ducky invading blue will use his ultimate to get out of the fray here. So where does he go? I guess doesn't really matter. Back towards his own blue buff is the answer. So survives, but it's an engage in mid now as Sotos under pressure by Listimics. Should be a kill, and it is. Luconium really showing up here in the early part of game 3.
Yeah, this has been his best game, I think, of the tournament so far to get off to this 2-1 start. Maybe he had another good early game at some point, but certainly this set, it has been his strongest.
Whoa.
Definitely getting involved.
Mastkill double pull, but unable to dash away further. That's a lot of burn
Nice
damage.
shot!
Luconium again. Beads used by Mastkill. Shell is out from Rotwin as well. Looks like Mastkill will survive. Playing with fire there, but the pressure continues. And a good trend for the Duck Club is that Luconium is hitting these ultimates on a pretty consistent basis.
Yeah, he's looked good so
God.
far on this, for sure. I mean, this has been a very good early game for Duck Club. It
What
has
happened
not
here?
just been on Snoopy this time, which has kind of been the problem, is that when Snoopy hasn't gotten ahead, this team has looked pretty anemic. This time, it has, you know, they got ahead in duo, for sure, but Hurwind is making a great impact on the map. 1-1-3, been a part of every single kill so far. He's been very, very active without overextending too much, except for that one death.
Yep.
Moswal's in a good position. This is looking good right now as Snoopy steals away another purple, but can't afford to get caught here on this back. That's rough.
It is rough, but he will gallop on away. Nice pullback
Nice.
in from Hurwind just to confirm. Actually, a decent chunk of damage turned around on that one as well. This is a pick that Hurwind pulled out early this week, and I'd wondered if it would be sort of a continued trend, if this was one of the main gods in his god pool. Hadn't seen it since. But I think he has looked good in the couple of instances that we've seen this at. And I think if I'm really thinking about it, Luconium steals away a red. I don't know if I've seen anyone else play the Atlas. I think Hurwind has really liked this pick and kind of stands alone on that.
Yeah, he's looked good on it too. I think that, you know, this aggressive style and playing it kind of like a Bacchus, constantly willing to get in there and get your hands a little bit dirty, it has worked really well. This is so obnoxious, man. I mean, what is Listemics supposed to do? He just confirms the buff and ults out, and there's nothing you can really do about it. And Ducky is continuing to grow his lead on this right-hand side, so every single lane succeeding right now for Duck Club.
Mastkill is going to walk into Ducky. The ultimate might long-term pay off here. Not enough damage from Hurwind to finish off the kill onto Mastkill. The Typhoon slows down the re-engage. Luconium sends out his ult. Does not pull anyone back in, but Hurwind will continue to walk forward with Stimix. Gallops away. And what a difference it has been for Mastkill, where plays like that in game 2 were working out. It felt like on cooldown. You know, the Fenrir was making those plays. Mastkill has now been empty-handed, but 1 assist.
I mean, it's the Susano pick that I said it in game 1. I just think it takes a little bit too long to get online with what you want your jungler to be doing in this meta. I really liked him on the Fenrir because he was able to get active early and continually gank over and over and over again and be really impactful. Susano can get off to those leads. It's not like Kali used to be where you just can't fight early at all. You can as Susano, but it's just much less guaranteed.
Oh my God.
Snoopy's got him. I think he's dead.
Oh, he does have him. Hits everything he needs to. And right when Mastkill thinks he's out, yeah, small grimace on the face is about all you see in the player cam there. The Duck Club starting to roll in the early game. As we transition to mid, they're going to find themselves just shy of 5,000 gold ahead. Rotwin desperately trying to escape, but the jump back in is too strong, and the Duck Club make no mistake. Right back towards the Gold Fury, unless they're looking for more picks.
And that was Snoopy not on the Gold Fury, zoning and bucking back Rotwin really early in that engagement, just looking for those kills. And Snoopy now 2-0-2. Been calling his name a lot in the games that Duck Club has been winning, but it's because he's done a lot in those games. But Moswal's in a much better position this time around as well.
You know what's nice is that Ducky hasn't had to use those ultimates for anything else, right?
No.
He can use it to ult out of the blue buff invade because it's not like he's had to go help out anywhere else on the map.
Nope.
We're free and clear to invade blue, jump back towards mid, go back to farming. Everywhere else has just felt comfortable for Duck Club, and that means Ducky is 2 levels ahead over Listimics. 1 level in the jungle, 2 levels in mid, 2 in support, and then 3 levels. One way or another, it feels like there's been a 2-3 level lead at all times in ADC at one point or another this set. Unfortunately for JUSTF6, it is the Duck Club this game. Could be some turnaround potential here, Aggro. You got to look for power spikes, and when those start to hit for JUSTF6, Mastkill finishes a pretty big item in the hi-rez.
Huge.
Spear of the Magus is there for Sodos as well, so still a glimmer for JUSTF6.
Yeah, I think that it just takes one really good final judgment like this on the Moswal, whose Aegis is a little bit late. That does half the HP alone as Luconium goes in 1v3.
Ooh, no.
Nearly got him.
No good on the ult. So Mastkill again will live, but Luconium will not. And Sodos grabs the second of the game. There's your glimmer, right? Moments like that where your jungler's able to survive, Luconium overextends, and Sodos snags the second kill of the game on this Thoth. You're going to need more of that on a consistent basis because stuff like this is still happening. Hurrywin and Snoopy combined for another purple buff.
I mean, Toddy has just been under siege this entire set. In game 2, he was under siege and performed in that position, really made great plays, but games 1 and 3, he has not gotten a lot of assistance, and it's been a little bit tough for him as Hurrywin gonna change target to the last minute with that grab and get the beads out from Toddy. Liked that play a lot.
Yeah, big value. Toddy holds his ult. You can tell in the player cam, Toddy doesn't love the way that this lane is gone, has to burn the beads, because we've seen now how much damage Snoopy can do. You got fully stacked Transcendence, Aussie, and then 2 tiers in the Wind Demon. Effectively one-shot Mastkill a moment ago with the ultimate into the damage detonation. And so you might have to use your beads there if you're Toddy. Sodos is 2 levels down, but has 2 kills. As we've mentioned, has hit some good items. And it's been a quiet game for Moswal, though, Aggro, but he hasn't had to do much. He's just quietly farming up. Got a 2-level lead, hit Charon's coin, so some percent pen on the back end of the flat pen early start.
Really like the position that Moswal's in, and love this Gold Fury pull. They force Sodos back to base, and only Rotwin is around, and he's not going to toss his hat in the ring. So that's a Gold Fury earned there by Duck Club based on that pressure on the Sodos, just forcing him to back up and then just going for the gold when the guy who can steal it away from you won't be around.
Another blue buff for Ducky. Let's put Listimics 2 levels behind. Mastkill has been here a whole bunch so far. Does not get the pull in. Does get the teleport off onto Moswal. Ducky finally using his ult as a way to re-engage with his team. Ultimate connects from Laconia, burns the beads, and Mastkill goes down as a result. Duck Club find a pick. And that is like the 3rd time we've seen Mastkill do that. And finally he dies. He's gotten out with low health a couple of times, but not this time.
And there's a value to being 15 minutes in against the Athena comp and had the Athena not use her ultimate in that way throughout the entire game. Because if Ducky has been instantly ulting anyone who's in trouble the whole game, Mastkill probably doesn't continue to go for that play, knowing that an Athena ultimate's coming. But he hasn't had to worry about it so far this game. So he thinks, why not? I'll play aggressively. And then Ducky, now that he's got all the CDR, now that he's nice and strong, level 17 now, by the way, he just ults in, sets up for an easy turnaround kill there on a Mastkill. That's the Athena Solo Classic. You just come in, save your backliner, then set up the kill.
Yeah, Ducky is going to be so tanky whenever these 2 teams group up and start to fight with one another. His build looks scary to me if I'm JUSTF6 trying to fight back into that. The clock is ticking now if you're JUSTF6 to find your opening to get back into this game. Pyromancer on one side of the map for the Duck Club, Fire Giant there as well. You're starting to get right into that territory where Snoopy does a lot of damage. You got all of this burn from Merlin. Should give you an advantage if you want to pull an early objective.
Yeah, I mean, with that Bell to the Berserker as well, I mean, that should be pretty easy as Rotwin tossed it in, picked up, that doesn't DR, picked up again. Rotwin once was able to play Smite, but not there.
No, not there. That's not where I want to die either. That's going to give a free Pyromancer over to the Duck Club. Luconium and Hurrywin did use their ults, and so if there's a small silver lining, it's that 2 Duck Club ults are down, and so a slightly crippled team fight. And another silver lining is that Rotwin's only level 11, so he's going to respawn here in about 10 seconds or so. But the Duck Club holding off on pulling the Fire Giant just yet, and they'll send Moswal and Ducky over to right, see if he can knock down this tier 1.
A little surprised that Duck Club don't just pull the Fire Giant in that situation. But
Frenzy.
Yeah, they had Frenzy. I actually don't think that's upgraded yet. I think that's just greater Frenzy misspoke a little bit earlier. So you don't have quite as much burn. Sotos is still in the area, and you're winning every single fight right now if you're Duck Club. You don't really need to give JUSTF6 a window back into this game. You can just play slow, but Snoopy's been standing on a ward, and Toddy knows.
Can Snoopy 2v1 though is the question? No, he can't. There's way too much there between those two. So Duck Club can put pressure on right now, knowing that 2 members of JUSTF6 are over on left with their AD carry. 40-second death timer on Snoopy. So you talk about Windows aggro. Could we have pulled FG, things like that? You know, a bit ticky-tacky, but what you can't do is give a kill over and allow JUSTF6 to delay things out. Now it's a red buff invade. Again, small moments.
Yeah.
Duck Club's still way ahead. But these are the opportunities to give JUSTF6 an opening.
Oh, definitely. I mean, that's a shutdown kill for Toddy and a big one at that. I mean, Snoopy holds on to the relics, but definitely an over-aggressive play when you know everyone else is on the right side of the map. You just can't afford to go for that type of play. Don't have a sentry in inventory, so can't guarantee that's going to go well for you. Definitely don't like that play from Snoopy at all, and it does open up a window for JUSTF6. And look, it's still Duck Club heavily in favor, but it's a pretty noticeable downturn in experience and gold off that kill and the subsequent invades.
They've been going up the chairlift. Could be starting to head down the mountain. You're hoping that there's one more lift
You
to take
want to
you
be
up.
skiing so bad.
God, I do. I was there a couple weeks ago. You should have seen me. I hit my first triple cork
YY cancel.
YY cancel 50-50 grind.
Throwing knife cancel.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
No scope. Right. Final kill cam. All of it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very
Wish I was.
jealous.
But the point is, we were riding up the ski lift for a moment, slight downtick. But you know, there's kind of the lifts that take you up to the next lift. If you're the Duck Club, you're hoping there's another increase here shortly, and it's been pretty heavy presence around these purple buffs. Hurrywind probably far enough ahead where milking out these flowers feels okay and a little less threatening.
Yeah, it should be pretty easy, and this will finish off their obelisk at the same time, so that's really good. Get you a nice little golden experience bump right ahead of an Oni Fury pull that's going to end up being pretty important, but there's not a lot of ward vision over here. There's one Duck Club ward on top side of fire that JUSTF6 don't see. I wonder if they were going to try and sneak a Fire Giant, but instead they're going to fake sneaking a Fire Giant and try and catch someone.
Wow, we're going in for Moswal.
Nice
Yangus
Aegis.
this time is good for Moswal. Ducky is on his way, but the DR not enough. Moswal ends up dying. First kill of the fight over to JUSTF6. Second goes to the Duck Club. Big knockup on the back end from Mastkill though, but there's a bit of a regrouping from Duck Club over in the mid lane.
Luconium fired off the ultimate, didn't find it,
big
but
time.
a double taunt coming from Ducky, Rotwin, and Listemics right back into the fray.
Ducky is making his impact, and it's a double for the solo laner. The rest of Duck Club rally around the tier 1 tower. Another taunt from Ducky is good. Another set of beads get burnt. The Duck Club roll in the mid lane in a 3-for-1.
Just so much CC from Duck Club. It's taunt and Atlas pickup and Bastet pickup and root from Bastet. I mean, it's just so much from Duck Club, and JUSTF6's front line cannot withstand these constant rotations of damage and CC. And Snoopy didn't get touched at all that fight. Came in from a really good angle on that far left, had a really good Centaurus, and Moswal walks into his death, but still got a lot of cooldowns, took a lot of damage, and got a good amount of damage off at the same time, extended his life as long as he could.
Wow, the showing of face from Toddy here. Enough to stop the Fire Giant pull from the Duck Club.
Wow.
And Mastkill will go into the mid lane, drop the tier 1 tower. Oni Fury did get confirmed a moment ago. 3-for-1 on the back end of that is always going to be a good thing for Duck Club. Wonder if you could have done a little bit more. But again, when you're this far ahead, that's the type of stuff we've got to poke holes in. Could you have theoretically finished off the FG? If you're the Duck Club, you're in a knockout game, you've got to lead this big. Maybe it's easier just not to risk it and regroup for another fight.
Yeah, I think that without the secure there, it makes sense for Duck Club's hesitancy. Masskill's positioning was really solid as well. He was threatening coming underneath from mid lane, and Snoopy, even though he had both his relics, taking damage from fire, it starts to get pretty hairy pretty quickly. So no problem with Duck Club's reset. Now they get Moswal back in, and should be having him here to help as well.
Frenzy ready for Hurrywind. Should Duck Club want it? Rotwin is pulled back, and that's giving Listemics an opening on the other side of this fight to weave in just a little bit of damage as Rotwin belly flops away. Mastkill and Toddy on one end of the fight. Sotos in the mid lane. It's artillery-style mage. Able to poke out some damage. Now you're seeing a grouping from Duck Club, though. It's kind of been playing around with the Fire Giant. Haven't seen the Frenzy get used up until this point. Here's your objective, Burn, and it is big. JUSTF6, close but not close enough. Steal, no good. And Ducky and Hurrywind are absolutely controlling the other side of this fight. Toddy, with the spray, is able to pull back one, but it is only one, as two more for JUSTF6 fall.
Hurry's got to be careful. Wind Siphon doesn't work because he's knock-up immune, so he just stompas his way out of there. And that's a 1 for 2. Losing Luconium when he's got fire doesn't feel great, but if he can trade his life 2 for 1, that might generate enough map pressure to make it worth it. Could be a tier 2 push here for Duck Club.
Luconium has been the one dying more often than his team at 3 deaths. Everyone else has 0 or 1, but I still stand by a statement we made earlier. This is the best looking game we've seen Luconium play.
Yeah, agreed.
Maybe all week long. The Bastet has been on point. The damage has connected with the necessary targets, and that's given the Duck Club a wonderful opportunity to close out this set. Unfortunately, meaning sending JUSTF6 home. You've got 3 minutes left on your buff, 2 tier 2 towers left. A little bit of gold to go back and spend at some point. And Duck Club have shown us they're willing to play some of these things a little bit more patient. So JUSTF6 have a moment to take a breather.
I mean, JUSTF6, they still have the Thoth factor when it comes to the mid to late game. On these siege defenses, they're still going to have great poke, but the problem is the front line right now because they are just far enough behind where these Athena taunts into Atlas pickups are death sentences for Rotwin and for Listemics. And even when your Thoth is doing good poke damage, if he doesn't have that front line in front of him to keep that going, it's not going to work out very well. You know, it's just not going to allow him the time necessary to get that damage off.
Duck Club not caught off guard by the rotation from JUSTF6. Centaurus flies out and actually chunks down like half of Mastkill's health. I think only 1 or 2 of those hit. Moswal flickers in towards Rotwin, who is left alone. And I think Rotwin just dies alone here as Duck Club pick up a free pick on the support of JUSTF6.
And Hurry and Ducky just basically put Sotos down to half HP,
no.
lost both the relics. That's easy cleanup there for Luconium.
And now that Thoth factor you're talking about, Aggro, it's gone. It's off the map for 55 more seconds. This could be it for the Duck Club. They could punch their ticket, to use an old cliche, onto the next round of the lower bracket. JUSTF6 have fought admirably this weekend, and it looks like they will have another chance or two maybe under these Phoenixes, but 35 seconds on Sotos.
Yeah.
A lot can happen in that
That's a
time.
lot of time. No wave coming here in mid, but Hurwin and Ducky are full HP. They're not concerned.
Yeah, level 20 Athena can tank up this Phoenix just fine. Hurrywin doing so at the moment. 5 versus 4 under the mid lane Phoenix. Damage connecting onto the Phoenix a little bit. That's Snoopy who's able to find those autos, but
No wave
a
coming.
good repel there from JUSTF6.
No waves coming anytime soon, so you just gotta choose your opportunity, and it's now.
It is now. Listemics taunted right back as Moswal sends his damage into the front line. Intoxicate connects onto the back line, but it's no matter. Duck Club are able to shrug it off. They're able to sober up. They're able to put their damage into the mid lane Phoenix. Mastkill back into the fountain. Then over to left go Duck Club.
But
There's
this
a
tier
tower.
2 tower's up, so yeah, you're not gonna be able to do any damage to this Phoenix, but they're just taking the aggressive pathing because they still have 35 seconds on this Fire Giant. Look at this Atlas player damage, by the way. I mean, Hurrywin is slamming on this pick. Moswal was lowest on his team by a lot until that last fight. He did a ton of damage there.
An opportunity to do more. Ultimate out from Toddy.
Oh,
but
see ya.
Hurrywin, yeah, he's got more damage in the back pocket. It all connects onto the jaw of Toddy into his own base. JUSTF6 have lost their AD carry. They will lose their mid laner as well. Listemics gets run down. Duck Club, they route through JUSTF6. And Duck Club will move on to the next round.
Just a couple more games to go for Duck Club to make it to the SPL. JUSTF6 really surprised a lot of us this weekend. I think that they had really good individual performances as well. Mastkill and Rotwin in particular really stood out to me as shining lights for this JUSTF6 team. Excited to see what they're going to do in the SEC, but won't be in the SPL this time around. Duck Club able to eliminate them.
Ducky with the slightest of smirk on his face, talking to the other 3 members of his team who were able to play live in studio here this week. I think a sense of relief probably for this Duck Club team. And the job's not done. There's still a very scary couple of games left to go for Duck Club to move forward.
I mean, you look, sorry to cut you off, Dave,
please
but
do.
their next set is going to be up against Funhavers. Who's looked better this weekend? Funhavers or Duck Club?
On a consistent basis, I'd say Fun Havers.
I'd say Fun Havers as well. So, you know, it's not like they should be feeling like, all right, we got that out of the way, now we're ready to go to SPL. You have to take this next game really seriously, and then you've got to find a way to beat either Oni Warriors or Winter Dogs in a best-of-5 if you can even get past Fun Havers, which is not a guarantee by any means. So this Duck Club team still clearly has a lot of things to work out with only a few hours to do so, basically.
Good news, we're going to find out who's in the bottom finals of the lower bracket after our next set.
Let's get an SPL team, shall we?
Let's get an SPL team. Best of 5 coming up next after we break down this one.
Welcome back, everybody. Game number 3 is done, and the Duck Club is the team that comes out on top with their win. Before we get into that, though, I just got to say, some impressive moves there by Jordan. May not have been able to win a foot race up against me, but definitely can do the worm and probably do cartwheels better than I ever could here. So I got to give props. I'm going to bet that I'm going to guarantee that he can do the worm better than I. And probably guarantee he can also do better cartwheels than me.
Where is the probably coming from? Like, do you think you could like do some like awesome cartwheels?
I think I used to be able to do some awesome cartwheels. I don't know if I can do those same cartwheels anymore, though.
So he could definitely.
He can definitely do the better worm and probably on the cartwheels. I'm going to leave it at that.
Okay, well let's see a cartwheel then.
We don't have time to do that
I'm
right
sure
now,
we do.
Myth.
Why not?
We'll arrange that for something else later down the road.
Production literally just said we have. Go ahead.
No, not going to do it right now. We're gonna
Coward.
keep on track for now. Maybe during one of our weight screens, maybe I can throw one out there for the fans. But
I tried, guys.
Duck Club comes out on top here. Game number 3, great performance all around, and kind of gives us that a good impression of what we initially thought of Atlas. A lot of strong things coming from the support, coming from hi-rez this game.
Yeah, I think that Atlas, it really does fit his style, man. Just able to get involved very early. The damage output, I think, was most impressive from him. He was nearly topping the charts. I think he was like 4th highest towards the end of that game.
Crazy.
It just fits his style really well. I want to see more Atlas in general, but specifically, I would like to see hi-rez play it more often.
I mean, so far we have seen it twice from hi-rez, and it has won twice, and both times it's looked very nice here. We've also seen a nice little step up from Luconium here in this game specifically, being able to really pop off here with the Bastet, and I think that does also come from all the people around him. I mean, hi-rez on this Atlas, getting a nice bit of zone control, but also Ducky over on the Athena, giving a lot of mitigations throughout the fight. Ducky playing a very obnoxious style of Athena for like the first 12, 13 levels of the game, sit in lane, steal a blue, then teleport out, but then kind of giving that false hope to the enemy team here, like, okay, well, Ducky's only ever ulting for a blue buff. Surely he'll never actually come to one of these big fights. And then when Ducky does show up to the fights, he's doing things like this.
Yeah, man. Ducky really was utilizing that Defender of Olympus really well. But I think you're right with your initial point that Luconium steps up in a big way in Game 3. He was getting involved early. He was finding a lot of kills. The mid-game really transitioned in well for him. And legitimately, Mastkill wasn't allowed to play. It felt like Luconium was kind of out-rotating him to the majority of the team fights. When he was showing up, he was already getting like Bastet pulled or something like that. This is definitely a pick that I expect to see more from Luconium if he's allowed to play it. Bastet's already eating a lot of bans just kind of in general because of the relative power of this pick. And now, with all the teams watching every one of these individual games, I think we're going to get a little bit more notice towards Luconium's Bastet in particular.
Yeah, I think that's always the big if with some of these picks, with some of these gods in particular, like the Bastet, I mean, the Circuit that we've seen from other players, Fenrir, they're already gods that are starting to eat a lot of bans initially, and now that teams are showing and players are showing that they have those gods and that some of their better picks, wouldn't be surprised if we saw some very heavy target bans later on as these matches continue. But the win out here, 7-3-10 for Luconium, 3-1-14 out here on the Atlas for hi-rez. Like you said, putting up some big damage. Actually, not even the lowest damage on his team, actually getting 4th on his team here. But
I take back what I said about Luconium, man. Get him off this pick. Less than 5 digits, bro? I don't know,
man. I'm still looking over here at this
kind
Atlas.
Of a Mickey win. I don't know.
Anyways, through here, Ducky, 14,000 damage on the Athena. 14 kind of across the board. Snoopy putting up the biggest ones here with 18K over on that Chiron. But we do have hi-rez standing by for our pregame interview. We're going to talk to him a little bit. And now that we've kind of seen a few sets out of you in support role, we've seen a lot of the flexibility more than anything in your god pool. You know, a lot of players, when they see someone go towards a new role, they stay very safe. But you're kind of going the opposite here with a lot of wild picks.
Yeah, I honestly don't even think I've been able to quite play everything that I've practiced. And I'm excited that we get to play more games because I still got more in store. I think there's a lot of good picks that people really haven't explored yet in this meta, and I'd be excited to show some of those too.
Yeah, and I think one of those strong picks might be this Atlas. You got in 2 games on him and 2 wins on him. How do you kind of feel about this god right now?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I think he's strong. I'm picking him top 3, so you can insinuate what you want. I don't want to talk too much about like why I think he's good or what he does well, but you can just see that we have a really solid lane this last game, and we have really high kill potential in the lane. We get a lot of those early neutrals, and it lets us kind of just get ahead, so that's one thing.
Yeah. Game number 3, we kind of talked a lot about Luconium being able to step up here. You know, how much of an extra impact has he been able to make onto your team that he's gotten a little bit of time to kind of soak in some of that experience?
So yeah, I still have a ton of confidence in him, and I've been talking to him a lot. This is all just a very new experience for him. I still have utmost confidence that he can be the best jungler, in the studio. and in the tournament this weekend. And I expect you to see more of that as we go on. I think we've been seeing him kind of get a little bit more comfortable and play a little bit more to how I expect him and how we expect him to play. And we have a couple more sets to play, so hopefully he'll be able to show you himself.
Yeah, of course. Well, hi-rez, congrats on the win. I'll let you get back with the team so you can celebrate, and we'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
Thanks.
Yeah, scram. That's my new thing.
He's
I'm
going to be
do
doing
that.
this. He's going to do this with every interview that he's going to be on the desk for. And unfortunately for some of you guys at home, that might be more than you bargained for.
What are you saying?
You're going to be here for a while, Mifflin. We got a whole season of this. And if we're going to be doing lives, you're going to be saying a lot of scrams to people, aren't you?
Well, not
Is this
all
going
of
to be
them.
this is going to be an all-season thing, Mifflin?
Well, I mean, like, not everybody I'm going to want to scram, but, like, hi-rez like a scrammable dude, you know?
What
Like,
is
I'm
that?
just like, get
Mifflin,
outta
what does
here.
that even mean, a scrammable person?
Well, you know, like, some people, like, you don't want to say scram to, and then, like, other people, it's like, that's the type of guy I want to say scram to. And then hi-rez finds himself in the latter camp.
What a nonsensical explanation we get from Mifflin. Let's pivot away from there and take a look at the schedule, because we've only got 3 more sets to go for the rest of the weekend, Mifflin. We got one more game today, the Oni Homies and the Winter Dogs. And then tomorrow, with the victory here out of the Duck Club, they'll face off against the Fun Havers. And then the loser of today's set and tomorrow's set will go at each other one final time. And we've got 2 best-of-5 sets remaining here of these 3. The next one coming up is for that first coveted spot into the SPL. The Oni Homies, formerly known as the Oni Warriors, want to reclaim the title of the Oni Warriors, but the Winter Dogs are looking to play gatekeeper for that.
J-Mac, do you know which SPL spot they're competing for? Like, are the Oni Homies going to become the Valkyries if they win this?
We have jokingly been talking about that, but I think it's been mentioned if they do make it that they're probably going to be going back to the Oni Warriors if they do make it. But then again, there's always potential for somebody else to completely take that slot away from them entirely.
Yeah, like the Winter Dogs.
Like the Winter Dogs or Fun Havers or Duck Club even, if the Oni
So
Homies
many
do not win
teams.
this. That is 3 other teams that are still going to be fine. We got 4 teams left in this tournament, but only 2 of them can make it into the SPL. And after our next set, Mifflin, we're going to find out who that first team is going to be.
Yeah, I'm really excited to watch this one. This is one I've been really anticipating. The first versus second seed, the SPL tenured talent versus the SCC favorites, man. It really is. We're kind of reminiscent of those OG kind of qualifier tournaments where there were just the standard relegation. So I think this one's going to have a lot to show. And it's a best of 5, so we get to see some of that set play adaptations.
And I think there's a lot of revenge on the line, too, because these 2 teams, the last time we saw them square off was the World's qualifications, where the Oni Warriors knocked the Winter Dogs out of being able to qualify towards Worlds. So we'll see who can get the win here in the rematch. That's coming up right after this break.